Hi, everybody. It's Friday. You guys can take yourself off mute and talk to me. No, I'm just playing. Not right now. I'm going to introduce everybody. I don't know what happened to Mistaken, but she just disappeared. But we have Mistaken, Indy, Tan, the AP, Mr. Marcus, and Mr. Let Go. My name is Shan Monet, also known as Shantae, and this is a chic critique. So, you guys got any big plans for the weekend? Oh, here she goes. She done changed it around. Let me see it. Mistaken. Okay. Gives me syrup vibes. Kind of want me on waffle now.
Got jokes.
I'm joking. I'm
You're
joking.
still cute, girl.
Everybody in the chat, hello.
What up to the chat? What up to the chat? Hey, I planned on getting some pumpkin donuts and having a baby. So that's kind of my them pumpkin donuts.
Wait, you plan on having a baby? Or you mean?
I mean,
It's
having
our
a baby
so.
too.
I know, I'm just joking.
It's our baby. And the pumpkin donuts do be good. The Entenmann's.
Oh, so my mother eat those, and I was like, "This is a strange donut to be liking."
Fire though. That donut's so fire.
Do you eat pumpkin pie?
No, that's nasty. But the donuts.
I don't
And I actually like pumpkin pie.
Okay, so no pumpkin pie, but pumpkin donut.
You just gotta taste them, especially the pop-ums, the little circle ones. It'll change your life. You'll thank me later. Indie Cousin Drake voice. You'll thank me later.
All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and get in this conversation because ain't nobody gonna be here all night. It's a Friday night, and we got some people who like to be in the streets on the panel. Not me. I'm gonna be in the bed watching Netflix by myself. Well, I am, but anyway. So tonight we're gonna be talking about, oh my God, child support. It is the major thing. Matter of fact, I think I've heard child support being mentioned like 1,000 times this week, and we're just adding on to it. Are y'all excited to talk about child support?
I don't think nobody ever.
Nobody's excited to talk about child support, but
I mean, according to y'all, women, use child support like that's a come up for women. So at least the women, right, should be excited about child support. I don't get
the women are excited about child support. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. So the first question we're going to ask tonight is, why do you think child support has such a bad name? When we talk about child support, especially with the guys, there's always this, like, they get so upset and just like, one of the first, I'm taking it back to the week before last, when we talked about spousal support. And we were talking about marriage. For whatever reason, people kept throwing up child support as if you had to be married to get child support, which is not at all the case. So I was like, you know what? Let's talk about child support since it's on everybody's mind. So again, the question is, why do you think child support gets such a bad name?
Well, it's two reasons, in my opinion. One is unregulated, and two, women are children. So it's like giving a child some money, and they're just going to run around and do dumb stuff with the money, and it's not going to be used for what it's supposed to be used for. So now you got the child not getting what they need, but she got some new nails and eyelashes and a new wig, and we, as a person, not me, but men, as the person paying the child support, we can't do nothing about the stupid stuff that she does with the money that we just gave her that was actually for the child. But it's for the big child, not the little child.
Yeah, I think you made a good point when you said unregulated. It's basically an arbitrary number between, like, each state has their own set amount based off of a man's or the non-custodial parent's income. So I think the bad rap comes from broke people or people of less means having even less means because the court has decided that you make $33,000 a year and they're going to take, gosh, I don't really know the number, but let's call it, they're going to take a third.
20% is usually.
So 20, like, that's huge.
In New York is 7.
Huge for somebody that doesn't have money. that they were struggling prior to the child support, which means they shouldn't have had damn kids in the first place.
You know, that's a good point. I was going to ask, because we're talking about the non-custodial parent, and 20% is a lot. How much would you say the non-custodial parent contributes during the, I was going to say marriage, but we'll say relationship to cover all bases?
Can you elaborate a little bit more? What do you mean?
Sure. He said 20%. That's a lot. So my question is, how much does the non-custodial parent contribute, would you say, just on average, during the relationship towards the child?
Like time or just money?
Yeah, because I'm a father, so I don't really know the difference between, because 20% of money, 20% of what? Effort, you know what I'm saying? Time is a lot.
So everything, since we're talking about child support, everything that child support calculates, right? It calculates shelter for the child. It calculates clothing, activities like
medical,
insurance, whether it's medical, dental, vision, whatever insurance might entail. I'm talking about everything that the law includes for child support. How much would you say is contributed during the relationship towards quote unquote child support? Since 20% is a lot, my question is, how much would you say is contributed towards the child during the relationship?
Whatever is necessary. I mean, I don't know if you can really even put a number on it. It just really depends. I mean, if the kid needs diapers, you go out and get diapers. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a dollar amount, which is why I think that the 20%, the 17%, I was looking a little bit, the 16%, I think is pretty arbitrary. And it's each state. It's insane to me.
So if we say 20% is a lot, wouldn't we have something to measure it by? If we're saying it's a lot, that would mean, assuming that one is contributing to the child support, we have something to compare it to, right? If 20% is a lot, what should be the norm?
Well, child support altogether, it's stupid. It's meant for the government to get, it doesn't pay the woman, it pays the government.
Yep.
Like I forgot what the actual law is, but I could play it if y'all want me to play it. But because I've talked about this before, child support altogether is a scam, because all you really have to do is require the man to pay, you know, like, for example, if I'm about to sue Tan and they're going to say, okay, what all did Tan do and what do you have proof of that Tan owes you? And they're going to say, well, I pay this, I pay that, I pay this, I pay that, and I pay that. And she owes this because she just ran out on the obligations or whatever, right? So they're going to break down how much all these bills are, and then they're going to say, okay, we're going to award you a certain amount of money through what the proof of what you owe or your obligation is versus them. So that's actually what child support is supposed to be. You take the person to court and say, these are all my bills, these are all the obligations, this is what all needs to be done, and the other person pays a percentage of everything that is outlined. Name anything in court that isn't like that. That's the reason why I say child support is stupid and idiotic and it's a scam, because that's the only time you can go to court without having to give an outline of what all you got to pay. So that's the problem, because if you were to do that, guess what? It wouldn't be a problem. But it's not like that, because at the end of the day, the woman just gets a check or something on her card and it's just a part of her income, you know? And the man never has any understanding or control over where it goes. And that's just not the way life's supposed to work. And nobody knows, the typical person, because I know the typical person doesn't know how much money the government makes off of the transaction of it, the processing fees, things like that. So that's another thing. So that's why I say the whole child support system is a scam. I've never paid child support, never will, but because I take care of my kids. So I'm not a person angry about child support. Ain't nobody ever put me on no damn child support. Nobody ever will. But that's just my opinion on the scam of child support.
So
Go ahead, Marcus.
So I think that child support come off as a punishment, right? It's usually at the end of a relationship. If you were married and they separate, bam, you get hit with the child support. Or if you had sex with somebody and she saved the condom and turkey basted herself, bam, you get child support. It's always a punishment, and it doesn't seem to specifically just be to the benefit of the child, to the point it's become a hustle for some people. Like, ain't no way. Like I got 2 little babies under 2, right? They don't need $100,000 worth of nothing, not a thing. Like they got everything. She just poured chocolate milk in a 65-inch. Still ain't got to $100,000 worth of stuff in a month that this child needs.
So most people aren't getting 200,000. So I wanted us to stick to the real numbers first, because our life, there's a tally that went along with that, and we'll explain that in a second. But we're talking about in general, the regular person, like the regular man.
Okay, so the with the regular person, I've this is almost, well, this is a rare extreme in the opposite direction, but it just feels as though it's not adequate for how people would like to contribute to the children, and to be forced to do something as a man feels away, and it also comes off as a punishment. I'll leave it there to the next question.
So I have a question for the guys. Did you guys want to answer that question? Anybody?
The answer to what?
Music. She's mute. I wanted to give an opportunity before I ask you guys
I
another
was
question.
just going to say, I actually, from the research that I was reading, I actually agree with the men in regards to the state making money off of child support. Like, it's, for them, it's a business, but it's coded as this is what's in the best interest of the child. So the truth is, if it was in the best interest of the child, then you would think that most of that money would go towards the child. But by the time they do like processing fees, and then you're not paying, then that's an extra fee tagged on top of that. And then if you're not paying, then, we take your license. So now that's another fee. So it's like all of these fees are really lining the pockets of the government, as opposed to it really going to take care of the child. So I actually agree with the guys on that part.
It's like overdraft fees at a bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Candy, go ahead.
I know for me, like the thing that I've seen amongst some of my, which is so devious that like some people are like this, but when a man gets put on child support, it does in a way hinder his ability to move forward and have another family with someone else, because he has to still provide in a household where he, had a child there. And so sometimes it can make it really difficult if he goes and, wants to move on with somebody else. Like, I know dating, guys that I've dated who pay child support are like not as open to having more children or whatever it might be, because they're like, I'm in the 18-year lockdown, 20%. So, it's like they have to figure out how to be able to provide and support their new child or their new spouse or whatever, if they want to move forward, while also still financially providing for, that other child as well too.
So I have a question. So what is the alternative? Did they not pay anything?
It's between a man and a woman, and let them deal with it without all these stupid fees or whatever.
I think that most people do. From the research that we saw, most people are not paying child support. From the census that yes.
Whoa.
So most people, a lot of people are, but for the most part, if you're talking about the majority of people are not paying child support. They have an agreement. We can only assume they have an agreement that's going on. I mean,
I had an agreement, so I agree with that.
Right. Like my child, here on this panel, like for me, my child's father's not on child support. We had an agreement. So that's 2 of us, so it's not unheard of, believe it or not. And even with the stats that Mistaken and I looked up, and Mistaken, I'll give you the floor on that. Most people are not on child support.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you said, that's pretty much it. Most people try to avoid the courts to begin with. And so they come to an understanding of what they're going to agree to in terms of how much to be paid. Typically, when the courts are involved is when they can't come to that agreement. And then one person wants to ensure that the other person pays, or if they, end up, going on Medicaid or something like that, they automatically, force you to put the other person on child support. So
That part right there. You can't get Section 8 Medicaid and government subsidies as a single mother unless you put the man on child support.
And you don't even necessarily have to put the man on child support. I know or knew two people that were living with the woman. She ended up with food stamps or something. She was on state aid, and the state pushed the case on the men without her. So it's a racket. I mean, it really is a racket.
I actually am a person that did before me and my husband got married. I had to drop out of school my senior year because my pregnancy was a difficult pregnancy. So he was the only one working at that time. And so, at that time, it just really wasn't a whole lot of money to start, raising a family. It wasn't planned. And when I went to social services to get the support, like, food stamps or whatever, they automatically was just like, well, is, the dad, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, he's helping. Like, that was my thing. It wasn't like he wasn't contributing. So I didn't want to, but they do make you. And so, but it wasn't a big deal, just on the strength that we were living together. So the money went back into the house anyway. But for him, it was just an upsetting experience because that goes on your credit report, all of those things, because they, garnish his wages. Even though we were getting it back in a household, it was just the process of having to go through that when, so they do kind of encourage you to, it's not about family when it
Can
comes
you
to
explain
social
how they made him? I'm confused. They made
because I
him
had to report it.
report
So
what?
report who my child's father is, provide the birth certificate, all of that
To
stuff
who? Why? I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know.
to social services. So when you're applying for any kind of like Medicaid or food stamps or anything like that, WIC, all of those things, and it was for because I was pregnant. So they ask you all of that information. So you provide the birth certificate. Of course, he signed off on the birth certificate, things like that. So now some people will not. They like, I know somebody who basically said that they was at a party, got drunk, and got pregnant, and they don't know who the father is. But that was how they got around not reporting who the father of the child was, because they didn't want to put them on child support. The father was paying, but they still wanted the services. So I just have a hard time lying. So I just told the truth.
But even like people in the prison system, because I know like my mom, whenever she got pregnant with me at 16 and she went to go get social services, my dad was locked up in the penitentiary. Like there was no way that he was going to be paying, and he still owes back child support, and I'm 27 years old.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it accrues if the custodial parent is in, or the non-custodial parent is incarcerated.
What?
My dad.
All them
So the
fees.
question is, so what's the alternative? The alternative is she just does it herself. She just forks the bill herself. That's the alternative. Is that
In my opinion, I just want to say this. In my opinion, if there was no child support and men and women had to work this out on their own, less women would just run around just giving their ass away to random dudes because there's no because women are incentivized to have fatherless babies and just have random babies or whatever because they can get child support and all this other stuff. But if it wasn't none of this stuff, women would literally protect their wombs and not just be
But if that were the case, the majority of people will be on child support. That's not that, but the stats are showing that most people who have children are not on child support. So if they are indeed using child support, and then they're saying, "Oh, it's better for me. I'm going to have this." I mean, assuming what you're saying is correct. If she's going in and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to make this money off of this guy," because it's a come up, sounds very low class to me. But just because it's a come up, then wouldn't there be more people in the system on child support mandated to pay?
No, because it's the threat of child support. If you don't do this, I'm gonna put you on child support. So we're gonna come up with this. You're gonna pay me this, and if you don't pay, I'm gonna put you on child support. So the threat of being on child support, I'm sure, is in the back of the men's mind. I don't know, but I'm sure the threat of being on child support would actually make the man actually do something. And I'm just assuming on that. I don't know.
So let me read this where I found this stat. Okay, so it says among Black women ages 15 to 50, approximately 60% were married or living with an unmarried partner at the time of the first birth. And roughly 40% were neither married nor living with an unmarried partner. So could it be that these women are getting pregnant because they're cohabitating? So the father is in the home. However, for whatever reason, of course, they do, like a divorce, you can split up for whatever reason. But what it's showing is that even though these people aren't married and it's coming up as an unwed, out of wedlock childbirth, they actually live together. So would that not change what you're saying? Because if she lives with him and she has a child by him under his covering, and him living with her, then that's not her doing it because of the child. It's just what happens when you're having sex and you live together. You keep having sex over and over again.
Well, a lot of reasons why people are living together is to save money. And next thing you know, you create another person that is costing money. And now, in a lot of cases, the dude don't even want to be with the woman after the baby comes, because there is something that actually goes on with us where and this might sound crazy, if we're having sex, unprotected sex, that's one thing. I could love you, want to be with you or whatever. But the day you allow me to impregnate you and you did not require me to marry you, I actually don't want you anymore, because you allowed me to do something that you don't supposed to let me do, which is create a child. So now you got a baby in your stomach and I subconsciously no longer want you. So we living together, everything. I don't want you no more.
It's like not clarity.
It's worse than post-nut clarity. It's I got you pregnant clarity. Because
but that's
when a man gets the woman pregnant, his whole life is like, I'm not gonna say he almost dies or something, but he's just like, oh crap. Now you're looking at the woman like,
I didn't really want you to be the mom of my kid.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Unprotected sex. That's all I was just doing.
Yeah, we was just like, I don't know, but now it's just like a real thing, and we just like looking at each other like, and she looking at me like, and we kind of like, it's kind of like a dual. Wait, hold on. So it's no longer sappy and fun. No, now we just like, so what you gonna do?
You have to be responsible.
You like, what do you mean what I'm gonna do? You want to be with me, right? And you just like, we live together, right? And he's just like, well, I was just trying to save some money, wake up to some poom poom every morning. In-house poom poom is dope, but now we got a whole baby. We living together to save money. And then the first thing to do is gonna say, you costing us money by having this baby. So the dude is like, I'm out.
Every time I hear y'all speak, I lose faith. I just like, what in the hell?
This is the reason why it's important for women to have standards and not just be living with some dude. That's all I'm saying.
It's important for both man and a woman to have standards. It takes two. So
it doesn't take two though. It takes one person to be like, nope, we're not doing this. Nope, we can't live together until we married. Nope. Wear a condom. Nope. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that's the woman. I'm just saying it takes one person to say, nope, we're not doing that. It could be the man or the woman. So it takes
Agreed.
one, not two.
Agreed. The man or the woman is what I like to emphasize. While I do agree with you, there is more impact on the woman for lots of reasons, but it takes two. And either the man or the woman, I will reiterate that all night if I have to, the man or the woman, because both are responsible.
But if there's more impact on a woman, it would behoove the woman to not be stupid versus the man to be stupid, because it impacts the woman. So that means the woman is the worst person.
Not necessarily. It may impact her physically, but on the back end, we're sitting here talking about child support. So it is going to impact you men as well. So it would, I think, behoove both, especially the one who knows they don't want a kid. I think they have the bit larger responsibility to make sure that they protect themselves so they don't end up in that situation.
Andy?
Most guys too, also, like they cohabitate, whatever it is, like live with you, right? They want to live with you, whatever, all that. But like they're not in a financial place where they're like feel secure to have a child too. So like that's the other thing, is that so whenever you hit them with that like whammy of like, okay, the reality of like a baby, he's not thinking of like, oh, your body's about to go through changes and stuff. He's like, I can barely pay this by myself. Like, that's why we're living together. And now you want me to be responsible for not only us, but also this 18 years worth of, another bill, basically.
And that's the reason why I was saying most people are living together to save money. But no, the woman or the man isn't thinking about that. They're just doing things for convenience. They don't want to, either the man don't want to be with a woman, or either the woman don't want to be with a man. They just saving money, like long term. They just like each other. You ain't never seen or been that person. You got your old place over here. They got a place over there. Y'all in love with each other. Somebody's lease is up, and somebody turns around and say, you know what? How about we just move together? It's always some convenient stuff when two people are living together, because if y'all ain't talking about getting married or getting married, why are y'all living together? Because it's convenience. Somebody doesn't make enough money to actually comfortably live on their own. Therefore, they live together. But then when a baby comes, now they looking at each other like,
I don't mean to cut you off, and I recognize this is a Chic critique. Yo, men, don't move your dumb ass in to a woman's house until you are financially prepared to move her into your house. Cut the shit. The messaging to all men needs to be, don't move into a woman's house that is not your mama. It is that simple.
What if you get an apartment together?
Do what?
What if you get an apartment together and both names are on the lease?
Nope. Not until you're ready to get married should you move in with a woman, or a woman move in with a man. Period. Not until you're ready to say, you know what, this is us. Then when you get married, then you can bust it down and knock her up and have as many kids as you can financially afford.
The reason I asked is because you said don't move into her house. So that's where that question came from. You said don't move into her place. So I was wondering if it would be different if they got a place together. So then that way it's not her spot or it's his spot. It becomes there. That's why.
Don't move her in your shit neither.
Because like I said, the bottom line is men don't want to be stuck with y'all. Okay, we either want to marry you or we don't. And if he doesn't marry you and y'all are living together, it's just some convenient stuff. So but guys, y'all are going to be stuck with these women. Go ahead.
What about these guys who are saying, "Oh, it's just not beneficial to get married. We can live together. We can be like partners." What do you say to those people?
Women don't buy that bullshit.
That's what it means. He don't want you.
Women don't buy that bullshit. Quit being duped.
Quarantine showed
let
a lot
your
of people.
dad or your let your dad or your uncle or whomever it is have a conversation with that man and let him decide on what your next step should be if you're really that interested in it. Period. Don't be duped by some guy. Are we fucking kidding right now?
And the stats show that typically cohabitating increases your chances of not even getting married.
Or divorce.
So yeah.
COVID showed that too, though, a lot because people were so busy with their lives and like working and stuff. They were doing that roommate situation, like, you know, they living together. It's cheaper on them. It's financially sound. You know, they cheating a little bit. Now they're living together, and you're in quarantine, and now you have to be on lockdown together. And they're like, "Oh shit, I don't like this person for real." Like, I saw a lot of my friends long term, like they've been together 5 years. But their lives were so separate but together.
Were they married or not married?
No, they were just like college. They graduated college.
See?
They just finished. They were from the dorms. Now they're moving in together and stuff like that. And then now they've broken up because, like I said, they've been together 5 years. They've lived separate. Now they live together. Quarantine hit. You're on lockdown. You can't go nowhere. Now they're going to the grocery store. Like, I need to get the hell away from him. I gotta go to the grocery store. And he's like, hey, locking himself in the bathroom for 2 hours watching TikToks. Like, y'all don't even like each other for real. Now y'all stuck.
You know, it's so it's crazy how different men and women think. Because I can almost guarantee that a woman is going in thinking, oh, this guy is going to be my guy. We're going to get married. They have this bliss. And the whole time he's thinking, I just want somebody to pay half the rent.
We just be wanting to wake up to some poom poom every morning.
Facts.
That's really
Yeah,
it. I grew up IHP, in-house poom poom. That was the number one thing that when I was a young person and my friends they move with a chick, I'm like, yo, I need to find me a chick to move with, because it's like you wake up to poom poom every morning, like this is beautiful. So this is all we think about. If he doesn't want to marry you before y'all live together, you are simply in-house poom poom, nothing else. I don't care how old, young, what. That's it.
That is horrible. All right, does anybody want to do? Okay, go ahead, and then I'm gonna show the video.
Now, I was just going to ask the opinions of the other gentlemen on the panel. Like, do you think that's the case for most guys, just wanting to wake up to in-house poom poom? Like, there's no excitement about marrying this woman, being her best friend.
So
women think of.
The way you describing it sound kind of crazy, but
that's how women think.
That's like how your brain probably works. Ours don't work in that same exact manner. I mean, those things do happen. She could be your best friend, and it's a lot of other things that go along with it. But our brain don't be like, oh, I just want a best friend. And we're gonna skip and count. We don't really think like that.
Exactly. What?
You know, but those things do happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that ain't how we walk in. Like,
but the intent is in-house poom poom.
To his point, like I was 15, sophomore year in high school, I was living with my girl for that exact reason, though.
What?
Like
15?
for that exact reason. Yeah, it's nothing like that. You know, I understand what he's saying, but I don't understand how you get people pregnant from there, though. Like, I think you should probably have one pregnancy scare, and then from there, you need to learn how to pinch the tip, roll, fill up with water, clean, and throw away. Pinch the tip.
What happened to flushing it down the toilet? Like, how are these women, how are these men getting got if you're flushing it down the toilet?
Because the toilet, take it with you. You got to clean it, put it in your pocket, take it with you, and dispose of it someplace else. I mean, it might sound like a lot, but I ain't got no extra kids, and I got it in, so
interesting.
It works for me.
Living with a man isn't fun either, though. Especially like for me, anyways. I did not enjoy living with like when I was married. Like that was not. I knew like this is the responsibility of being in the same household and being married, but I didn't go in it like, oh, my best friend. I was like, he finna leave his socks. I'm about to have to clean up after another grown person because I like for my house to be a certain way. Like he gonna come in here and bring his man stuff.
Oh, he came in your house. You said come in here. He lived
like obviously like we got a place together when we got married.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It was just like I'm having to go from living I think that if a woman hasn't lived with anyone but her parents before, then it's different. But like me and my little sister, we live in a time where now women, like, we get apartments and whatever. So like now living with a guy, for me, like, I gotta be in love. Like, you know what I mean? Because if not, I'm like, a boyfriend, just like living with a boyfriend, I might not like how he lives.
I guess I'm more masculine than I thought. Because I felt like the guys. That's what I was thinking.
In-house ping.
That's what I was thinking. I was excited about that because it was readily available, and then it was a mix of both. It was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to cook. Oh, we're gonna be able to do whatever, whenever, whatever. So it was a mix of both, but more so like the guys. I was excited about.
Would you have done that, not having a future, thinking of having a future with the guy that you're with? You'd have just done it with a random guy, like that you were just like, oh, we're.
No, I was in love. Yeah, I was in love with him. It was a relationship, but like I was living on campus at the time. He had his own spot, and so trying to go both places. Like he had male roommates, and I had a little small dorm room. So when we got to the point where we moved in with each other, that was the exciting part. Was like.
I think that's where you differ from with their thinking. Like that's what most women think. I understand that you're making emphasis on the in-house thing, but what you're going in, you like, oh, I love this guy. I enjoy it, and I want to cook for him.
We barely care about the woman.
Women, they don't care. They're just there for the rent.
She just got a fat butt.
You got feelings, and they don't got shit. They just got rent.
Most women want a future. They're looking at spending. They want a future with this person they love and care about. And he's not saying that. He's like, it's convenient.
Okay, let me stop that, because now I get the question that you was asking. I wouldn't have moved in with somebody I didn't like actually love.
Right.
I wouldn't have done that unless I was like broke and destitute or something. You know what I'm saying? And a homosexual, like KS used to say.
So
that's the only way that I would have done that.
So what you're saying, Mr. Let Go, is that men will just move in with I don't want to say random, but with a woman that they are just being physically intimate with, although they don't have a relationship with, or in their mind, they're not in a relationship, but in her mind, she's in a relationship with you.
So let me say this. The majority of relationships start by mistake. Men don't be wanting to be with y'all. You just won't leave. So we start sleep with this girl over here, and then we sleep with this girl over. Say we sleep with like 3 different girls or whatever, and one girl is just more consistent, more nurturing, more something, and we end up being with her simply because she just won't leave, right? So y'all ain't calling it nothing. Next thing you know, she's just laying at the edge of the bed or whatever, y'all looking at TV or whatever, and then she gets on the phone and her homegirl like, where you at? Oh, my baby house. And it turns from, my baby house to, my man house. And the day the dude doesn't say anything is when y'all together.
You can't get tricked into a relationship like start. That can't happen though.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't be like, would you be my girlfriend?
I'm warning young boys about that. Like, bro, don't go over there and let her cook for you and spend the night. You think you just hidden, but you're gonna end up in a relationship before you know it. And as long as because you can tell her, oh no, it's just about sex. But if you allow her to keep doing the other stuff, are you in a relationship, bro? It's just a matter of time for her to tear you down.
I mean,
so women fall in love, we fall in relationships, and we just be like, all right. And we just like, all right, whatever. Like, she cool, whatever, But so we usually
I'm here, baby.
The weird thing about us is I think our love grow over time. It like gets bigger and bigger. That's why, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on, what'd you say?
I think it grow. Like our love grow.
Yeah, it just grows. You just
time.
get used to the person and you're just like, all right, whatever. Because you want to make the woman happy or comfortable, so she wants you to be her boyfriend. You be like, all right, I'm whatever, I don't care.
I don't got nothing else to be. I don't got nothing else to do. It's fine.
So there's no point that you actually ask to be in a relationship with a woman, because like my husband asked, like he's like, you know, I want to make this official. And so at that point, then that's when we became, you
That
know,
was 20 years ago. Sierra. Things have changed.
official, so to speak. We were hanging, like what you said, we gradually began hanging out all the time, wanting to spend time with each other all the time, but no one ever said, you know, we're exclusive. So in my mind, because I, you know, it wasn't exclusive, I assumed that maybe, you know, he might be doing something, and or vice versa. But once he made it official, it was just like, I want to make this official. Then I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable now, because it was a clear, you know, structure of saying it's just going to be us. So men don't do that anymore.
I've done that. I've done that, but it was I count on one hand how many I've done that too. Literally,
But they
not even just one
required
hand.
it, right? They required it, right? Like they did they tell you like you need to
No,
act?
I wanted the woman, and I was like, "Yo, you my girl, or I want you to be my girl," or something like that. Yeah, but I can only count on one hand who I've done that with.
So
yeah, me too. I only had
But
three.
what made you do that though? Like it was something about her that she had that standard for herself, like you said. Like if you know a woman wants to get married, you're not gonna.
No. It's important for women to have standards. I'm not gonna say a woman shouldn't have. It's important for her, but none of that guys has anything to do with it. We pick you, and we say, "Yo, because a lot of times we see you and say she could be marriage material or whatever, and then we just go in that direction. And that particular woman, we actually pursue. The key word is pursue. Most of us ain't pursuing y'all. We just, you like me and I like you, and we start smashing, and you coerce me into being with you, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And next thing you know, we together. And then going back to the child support thing, and then you get pregnant, and then we like, wait, what just happened? Because we never wanted you in the first place, and we told you we didn't want you. You just wouldn't leave.
Okay? What about the woman who you may have asked or said you're my woman? Were you?
That's a different story.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's a different story. Those women, in my mind, we were going towards marriage, but something went wrong, or me, or whatever, and something went wrong. We're like, I don't want to do this.
Okay, so I can't co-sign this. I simply can't co-sign this. So, do we end up just busting down a regular chick that's just some regular chick? Sure. Will we end up in a relationship with her? No. The first time she call us baby, we're gonna check it. Like, hold on, you're here temporarily.
But bro,
we don't say that.
We don't say it like that.
I ain't never heard a girl say a man said that to her.
Do I need to lay out exactly what we say? I mean,
sure. I want to hear it.
At the end of the day, like, oh no, we ain't graduated to that yet. We still working on us. We still got some things that we need to sort out.
No, we don't want her in the first place.
But this
ain't no graduation. We either want her or we don't.
Yeah, this how the trick happened though.
I'm just talking about the conversation that we have to keep her around so that we can bust her down.
Okay,
Like,
that's what I'm saying though. You're agreeing with us then.
We might as well not lie about it.
We either want you in the beginning or don't want you, but we'll be with you because we ain't got nothing else to do. But we don't want you. We just with you because you want to be with us.
What was Marcus gonna say?
We got you around just to bust you down. That's exactly what I'm saying.
So you're agreeing with us. You said you want to disagree.
No,
you just agree with everything we said.
I can't co-sign on what you're saying where we just slip into a relationship.
Oh, he said can co-sign.
Oh, you can.
No, that's no.
You just agree with every single thing we said.
No. What I didn't agree with is slipping into a relationship. A bust down and being in a committed relationship with a person is not the same thing.
Right.
Okay. You may look at, let me give you an example. Me and this girl sleeping together. I'm doing whatever with other women, but she just won't leave. So the other girls can't come over no more because she just, Bogart and, and I'm okay with it because I like her, right? And I get used to her. I stop calling the other chicks, and they whatever, you know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, me and her around each other all the time. We laying around looking at TV or whatever. And I get used to her being over here and she just over here and I'm just content with what it is. And like I said, we ain't calling it nothing. And at some point, she inadvertently in some type of way calls it something and you just don't say nothing. And
It's
you
like,
just
yo, you
like,
got-
because
she's
you don't really
bullying you,
care.
You getting bullied by that woman.
Right.
That woman,
What do you mean?
Okay.
But being bullied? We just
she
don't
bullied
care.
your ass into a relationship. You talking about she wouldn't leave.
You want to leave? Like it's go, like you over here, just whatever. But you don't really see it where we going into a relationship. We just used to each other. I like you, like you.
Well,
Me.
like
You know, in
easy
a relationship, I'm
You
gonna let
got
you
bullied into
Let
a
Marcus
goddamn
go. Marcus
relationship.
been trying to get something out for a minute.
go, Marcus.
Marcus, go ahead.
Okay, y'all saying the same thing, except it's a divergent point, right? The point that AP and Mr. Let Go, so Mr. Let Go, you saying you don't care, it just slowly flows into that. And I'm gonna explain how that happened and where AP is saying it don't happen it, but how it could happen also. When you hit it and then she start like trying to do the extra stuff for you, you be like, no, I'm cool. And then you leave. Come back the next day. No, I'm cool after you have sex, and then you leave. But one day it's late, you feel like going to sleep. Bam, you done made your first mistake. You slept over there.
And you
Oh,
held her.
I'm
Oh,
tired.
that's
Yep.
not-
And
That's
then,
not-
and then,
that's
then
not what he said, though, Marcus.
And then you hit it in the morning.
Marcus,
and then it
You
just
said
goes
she
at night.
wouldn't leave.
now you cracking again. Then she hit you with the I just want to feel it raw stroke. And then she got you on the next thing.
Man,
She gotta
fuck
get
that
you to
shit.
spend the night, hit her raw,
Hell no.
and accept things that you will only let your girl do. And then you in a relationship. That's what he talking about. In order to stop that, you just have to have sex and then cut that shit off, bro. You
Right.
can't
Because the woman is going to, at
Sure.
some point, try to claim you, and we just don't care enough to argue what she just said because we don't care enough.
She
So
So
bullied
if you
your
want
ass,
to run
man.
around saying I'm your girl, I mean I'm your boyfriend, I don't care.
Dude,
Go
she
hard.
devoed your ass.
I'm not
And
doing
now
that because she's gonna act a fool. She's gonna get the act.
Now-
That's
Let go.
how you get
She
stalkers, bro.
devoted
That's
you.
how he's trying to kill you.
You don't realize she devoted your ass?
You
She
guys.
made you be in a relationship with her. Talking about she won't leave. Marcus, you keep talking about he ain't leaving. He sit there and said she wouldn't leave. If she
Yeah,
at my
he's
house,
tripping.
I'm
We're
calling the
not
police.
talking
I'm
about she
calling you.
won't leave, like won't leave. What are you talking about?
She
She
You
just
should have
just
said
there,
she
he
wouldn't
allowed
leave.
her.
used to her.
She just
She
fucked
said
around.
you said she wouldn't let you leave. Like you tried to put out. That's what he talking about. They harboring on that one part.
But that don't make no
He
sense.
ain't saying
What
it
are you
like that.
talking about, bro?
You guys,
Dog, I'm
listen,
telling you, how
Hold on,
is it that you can't?
what'd you say, Shan?
Well, listen to what I'm saying. How's it
Go
that
ahead.
she's not gonna leave? You said she wouldn't leave.
Nobody
She
said
wouldn't
she's not going to leave, bro. It's a figure of speech.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
he was talking. He wasn't.
leave. I thought you
speaking-
was telling your story. Said she wouldn't leave. She just hanging out.
No, it's a okay.
Hey,
Go
no,
ahead.
Maybe I can't
no,
even
hold
tell
on,
you.
hold on.
My
Guys,
bad.
listen to you guys.
She's
Listen
I
to you.
don't know. Have y'all seen Krishan the Blueface? That
yes,
Look,
he knows. He got
it's
his.
a
Yeah,
scene.
see, that's Mr. Let Go situation.
No, Miss Lego, it's the scene, bro. She look at
So
him and start
she
smacking.
like literally looks like she's bullying. Like she looks like
That's what
I was scared.
Mr. Let Go lady was doing. She was bullying his ass.
He say to her, she tell him he be trying to kick me out. Then she lean over and whisper in his ear, smacking, but I ain't going nowhere.
No, I ain't never dealt with that. But no, chick be at my house. I'm used to her coming to the house. She gets off work, come to the house, starts cooking or whatever, start walking around, you know, half naked or whatever, and I just get used to it. Next thing you know, she don't move to my house. And it ain't no you move in my house. It's just like she just bringing more and more stuff over there. And next thing you know, she just over there, and I don't even know she moved in.
She
And
bullied
you know,
It's nesting. It's called nesting.
Yes, so-
That's the
I
ass.
don't,
You don't need to
it
come
done
over with
happened
no-
plenty of times
Look
with
here,
me,
man.
and now I
Why
got a
you
woman
allowed
right
that
in
to
my
happen,
house,
though, Mr.
and I
Let
don't
Go?
even
That's the
know,
problem. I
Okay,
don't
you
give her
guys.
good.
Okay,
and I
you
don't
guys.
even
How
know when
good
the
the ass
actually
is.
started.
There's no way
but
she's
I
not
just
just gonna
got a
just
chick
keep
living in
her
my
shit.
house.
Hey. Okay,
Man,
we
you
can
should have
go
put her
back
ass out with a
all
goddamn
night.
lifesaver.
Look,
Don't bring no goddamn toothbrush. Get the hell on.
Go to the next thing.
You
I'm
always be talking about angry shit, bro. Like what? Then what in
Oh, you
the
get
world?
bullied. You shouldn't be getting bullied by no woman.
It's sad, bro. Like what happened?
It's sad when you see a grown
We
ass
have
man
the
being
mute
bullied.
button.
That's even worse.
Golly.
Wants access to.
We have the mute.
He's not going to be.
His ass getting bullied.
He's not going to be mean to her though, because he still wants access to the box.
It's not
Well,
about
no,
being mean to
he'll
her.
be mean to her
I
because
promise
he's
you this.
something.
If she
I don't
want
know
his
what
ass
happened
out,
with
he
this.
ain't gonna care about his goddamn feelings. She gonna say, "Get out, Miss Lego, get your shit and get
You know
out."
what I'm
He ain't gonna
saying?
worry about his feelings.
Bro, you so
So listen,
angry.
no,
I
listen,
understand, buddy.
listen.
But I'll
No,
tell you this: ain't no woman gonna put me out, and I'm
Hold
not.
on,
Hey,
go ahead, Shane.
when I tell
Shane
her
been
get
trying to
out,
talk
she
for
Jake
the
get
last
out.
wasn't here for
10
the
minutes,
talk.
bro.
he,
Go ahead,
he wasn't
Shane.
here for the talk.
For the back
He
talk.
wasn't.
Shit.
You missed the conversation before.
The
we got-
whole
I'm
conversation.
glad I did. If it going by he getting bullied, I'm glad I missed that
All right,
conversation.
go ahead,
No,
Shane.
it
Go
was
ahead,
about
Shane.
I
respecting
don't
the
see no man
moderator.
getting bullied.
Yes.
It was about
So
respecting the moderator.
So, and I agree with both of you guys. Have it seems like Hink is more straightforward, and Mr. Let Go gonna let you play yourself. And he's
That
gonna
ain't straightforward. That's
listen,
Hey, you
spitefulness,
call it what you
anger,
want to.
something.
Look, Mr. Lego, you out here buying tires, eating ass, and you still ain't gonna put that heifer out? I'll be damned.
Hey, okay.
Get your ass out my house.
Hink.
Present.
So it's listening to you guys now. I see why. I mean, it's just a confusion. Like we're like all on different pages. We might have a whole episode just with men.
How? I think we all somewhat to say the same thing. You don't think?
No,
in some type of degree.
No, what I'm saying is you guys are on the same page. I don't think that women look at it that way. So it makes sense that we're in the situation that we're in today when it comes to child support and every other thing, because we're just on different pages. We're all going in thinking very different things, which lead to, what's going on in dating today.
I just thought about something.
What?
The relationships where it just fell into something lasted longer than the actual relationships where I want you to be my girl. And I think, to me, on my end, is because there's different protocol to the woman that I want to marry and be with. It's more pressure on her. You feel me? But the woman that just roundabout is just now living in my house for a year, there was never no pressure, no protocol. So there's no pressure on her. There's no pressure on me. And it just flows. But when it was, I want you to be my girl, it's so much pressure because it's like, it's going in a direction. And if she's looking at me and I'm looking at her, and it's like some type of pressure. I just thought about that.
So do you think that's why men don't want to get married?
Say it again.
So do you think that same, because I actually agree with you. I was saying, do you think that's the same reason that a lot of men don't want to get married? Because marriage is responsibility. And so do they want to have the benefits of the marriage, but not the responsibility of the marriage? So they don't mind cohabitating, living with the woman, doing all of those things as if they were married, but not necessarily taking the full leap with truly being married.
Well, there's one side to it that y'all, just as women, y'all have to remember, we don't want you in most situations. That's the difference between a man that wants to marry you. He's going to tell you in the beginning, that is the intention. And that is when the pressure hits, because if a man doesn't have a certain amount of standards, like, okay, if we're going to get married, I need this, or I need that. If you're dating somebody and everything's just willy-nilly and he doesn't care, he don't want you, because I don't give a shit what you do and when you do it, because I don't want you. You get what I'm saying? So that's an indication that a man doesn't want you. Because I know a woman like, does he want me? Does he not want me? Is he giving out standards, protocol, don't do this? Like, for example, a chick eat macaroni and cheese. I don't want my woman eating macaroni and cheese. Like, just as an example, just little small. Yo, why you keep eating that? Yo, why you keep doing that? Yo, can we start going to the gym? Like, a chick I'm just smashing, I don't care. We go to the gym together. I don't care what you do. So that's just a small indicator of a man that actually wants to be with you. One, he's going to tell you up front what he wants to do with you. But at the same time, as you're growing, he's going to start pushing certain things on you that he requires. And if you don't do it, he's not going to marry you. So, so hopefully that answers your question.
I let go. Why are you always using food as an example all the goddamn time?
Okay, let's take it off topic.
Oh, because women be fat. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd actually
shout out to the fat hoes. Okay.
Okay, ladies, we call them ladies. So remember, we are, classy.
I'm talking about y'all ladies on the panel.
All right, so going into the topic of, because it almost came up because Mr. Marcus, Mr. White brought it up. One of the things he brought up was Kanye West's situation. Kanye West has been ordered to pay, well, there was an agreement for him to pay $200,000 a month. And that is a lot of money for us average folk. But undoubtedly, when you are a billionaire, it is nothing. So a lot of people had some things to say about that. What are your thoughts?
Is he still a billionaire?
No, that's incorrect though, because they have 50-50 custody, and they're also splitting the
No. I know what you're about to say, but he is paying 200. That's not incorrect.
No, I'm saying, but he's also paying that in addition to. Also, I just looked at the court order thing. They have him paying for half of the child care. So the $200,000 is just like a little extra stipend on top because he's still being required.
So she getting paid to leave.
No, she's not. She's not. Okay, so let me go ahead and just tell you, because I read this up and down different sources. So this $200,000, Kanye has no problem with. We have a problem with it, but Kanye doesn't. Matter of fact, he agreed to it. This wasn't a judge who ordered that. That was done in mediation. That was an agreement that he and she had. They went in with a prenup, and he was claiming that the prenup was no good. Because remember, he's protected himself because he has billions, which means if he says the prenup is no good, technically, if she said that, she can get his billions, but she didn't want it. She said, I don't want it. I don't want spousal support. We wrote it out that I don't get spousal support. You don't get spousal support. So if she really wanted to go for the gun hole, she could have with the billions with the spousal support. But she said,
wait, you got to remember, he walked in on her sleeping with Chris Paul or something.
Okay, so
I don't think she had any bearing on that.
Listen. So
she was sleeping with Chris Paul, basketball player.
The documents that I saw said that they agreed upon it. And they said, from what I saw, the language sounds like, because it was half. They put all of it together. They agree on half. So some of the things that he's paying, she's paying the other half. And he did agree that he does not see the kids 50% of the time, that she has the kids 80% of the time. So he understood that. His argument was, y'all get this. His argument was, he felt he should be able to interview any future husbands. So,
wait, what's wrong with that?
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
No, wait, what's wrong with that?
With the child support,
he's an idiot. First of all, I wouldn't agree with that.
Divorced. He doesn't.
That's how my shit goes.
He doesn't want to be divorced though. He's not the one. He openly says like he's in the. Of
course, he doesn't want divorce.
So the settlement that he agreed with was what their attorneys. Kanye has openly said like, that is my wife still. In his eyes, that is still his wife. He just went on there the other day and was talking about that.
He's an idiot.
Are still together in his mind. She was just going through something with Pete. He went to Charlemagne
and Chris Paul.
Yep. Like,
he's an idiot.
This man is a pure cornball from day one. I always say he was a cornball.
Look, if I was his lawyer, I'll say, man, we need to get him evaluated. We need to get him evaluated because something's wrong with this man to agree to this and still think that's his wife. After you don't watch a man just dick your wife down, and you still calling your wife.
That was. We don't know how true that is. We don't.
I believe it is true.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't doubt it.
He caught her in the bed with Chris Paul.
Who said that?
Kanye said it. What man is going to lie about something like that? One, he says the man's name.
Okay, I agree.
Who the word is going to lie? I caught you in the bed with this particular man. You can't lie about that. Nowhere in the world a man is going to lie on another man. That's unheard of. That happened.
Who won't admit that?
But who would lie about it? That's what I'm saying. Who would admit that, and then who would lie about it? Ain't nowhere in this world I say, hey, I caught Hink in the bed with my wife. Who you can't say nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? That's still no. So it happened.
That's a problem. So, he need to get evaluated.
Go ahead, Marcus.
So I had a question for y'all. I didn't read it. I haven't really following it that well. Y'all just told me some of the information before. That's why I was answering like that earlier. My question is, did he want to interview the next husband in regards to them being around his kids, or in regards to her getting
It
with
didn't
somebody?
specify.
Hell
It
no.
didn't specify. And this is
He get them
allegedly.
80%
This
of the
is
time.
all on,
He act like he don't care
all
about them
things
kids.
allegedly. But allegedly, it wasn't. I know it's a big deal for us because we see $200,000 a month. But allegedly, that's not an issue for him. He does not mind paying for his children. He had concerns in other areas, and that wasn't it. So that's what I read from several documents. So
those
Well, it's
children
obvious
are
he's
an
not concerned
extension
about
of his ego. He don't care
It's
about
not-
them children.
No, he
It's
don't
an
care about
extension
it.
of his ego. I don't want nobody around my kids, so she can stay single.
Yeah,
He bought the
that's
house next door to
this
her.
is his whole agenda. His agenda's never been them kids.
That's control, Indy. That's not love.
He bought the house. That's what I'm saying. He bought the house next door to her when they got a divorce. Like he literally
He's a
went.
stalker.
That's control, not love.
That's a problem.
I got a question for the two guys. Anybody that got a divorce. I don't know. The AP, did you get one?
Me? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So when y'all separate, what like I know the responsibility you feel when you married to your wife, right? Like, how does that shift when you separate? Like, what does that look like to y'all? I'm just curious.
Mine didn't shift at all. She still was my responsibility. That's why I wanted her to get married. I had a little bit of a hand in her getting remarried. Little bit. So I wanted, because she was my responsibility. She's still my wife, even if you can't be out here divorced and you ain't got no husband. Like, you still my responsibility.
Why is she still your responsibility though?
Because those are my children. So I need.
I thought your children were grown, right?
They're grown now, bro.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. So then,
how long ago she got remarried?
Huh?
How long ago she got remarried?
2 years afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And I was not in the middle of anything, but on the phone, finding out what's going on or whatever. So, because at the end of the day, I need to know everything. But like I said, you my responsibility until you get remarried. So
you better be. Hell,
he feels like Kanye. He's got like
you still my wife. Nah, it ain't control. It's just responsibility because you don't know what the hell you doing. Like I took her from her mama. She don't know what the hell she doing out here.
I want to disagree with him, but if you got my kids, I got to make sure you safe. If you got my kids, I got to make sure you fed. If you with my kids, I got to make sure
your emotional health got to be right. If you over here doing dumb shit and all going out here, I need to know what you're doing.
If she's like that, then you need to take your son or your daughter away from her. That's what you need to do. If she's
like what? Like a woman?
Point,
she's a woman.
I gotta make sure my kids are okay.
Women are children. Women gonna just do stupid shit.
It doesn't matter, Mr. Lego. A woman can lose custody of kids. If she's mentally unstable, she don't need to be with my kids.
Mentally unstable. You always go away. I said women are children. Women are just gonna do stupid shit without guidance.
Well, listen what you're saying. Women are children, but you're gonna have them responsible for yours. That sounds foolish.
We made a decision that
I don't give a damn what decision. If she's a child, why would you let another child raise a child?
Because I had authority over the household. Ain't that what I said?
Well, I think that he knows he wouldn't put his kids in harm's way. He feels comfortable with his child's mother.
Shan, how many times did you hear me say I had authority over her decision making and everything?
So I think he calls all women children.
Yeah, I think he just calls them that.
In another child's hands.
There are men, so there's several types of men, but I think that there are two men from what I'm hearing in these YouTube spaces. There are guys who feel like that the man is, and then the woman is beneath, a little bit beneath him, and it's his responsibility to take leadership, and she's his responsibility along with his kids, because that's like his legacy. And then there's some guys
get married to someone else,
right?
Exactly.
So
I somewhat played her father figure after we separated.
But your kid's still gonna be your legacy, even if she gets remarried.
Yeah, but you gotta worry about.
I guess the protection part. He's making sure his family is protected. Like he's providing the protection part over her.
So bro, like if somebody running
you
your
okay, man? Just
your
calm
kids in there.
down. Like what the shit?
Dog, I don't agree with. Look here, you sit there. If you sit there
we
and say,
can agree and we can disagree, bro. Like, damn, you so argumentative.
But hear what I'm saying. You keep calling. You said women are children. So of course, your ex-wife is one of them women who are children, right? You're relying on this childlike woman to raise your kids.
And
mentally, you say she's a child.
Can I answer the question?
Some people are very responsible.
You don't even want to stop talking. So I specifically said 5 different times that I was still in control of how her household ran. I even said I played a small hand in the man she chose.
Mr. Lego, can I ask you a question? Why did you leave then, bro? If you were in control of the house, you should have got that how you wanted it and kept your family together.
I didn't want to be married no more.
That's a bullshit ass reason, bro.
Come on, man. Really?
Okay.
You don't have control then.
Of himself.
What are you talking about, bro?
Really? Because
we heard him are you just making up random shit to say?
I ain't nobody making shit up. Look here, you sit there and say you had a small control on finding her a husband. How do you know you make that decision?
I didn't say finding her a husband. I said approving of the husband.
Okay, approving of her husband. How do you know your decision making is good? Because it sounds like you made a bad decision because you didn't want to feel like being married no more. That sounds like something a woman would say.
Okay. One, it wasn't that I didn't feel like being married no more. It was more than that.
Okay.
That's what you said.
That was in a nutshell.
Okay.
In a nutshell. Like, I'm not going to tell all the personal stuff. I ain't want to do this shit no more. Like, I'm 23. I'm like, I don't want to do this shit no more. It was a lot of responsibility.
You were very young. You were still young. Okay.
It was a lot of responsibility, and you start looking at shit differently, and you start, wanting to be
graduated.
No, I didn't want to. No, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I should have did it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day,
you graduated.
Okay, so we're gonna move on because so Mr. We have a video to watch.
Everyone wants to know what your income is, but no one is really concerned about the mother's income. They will demand evidence of your income amount, but will often take the mother's word for her income. This is critical because the less the mother makes in salary, the more you pay in child support. So the less she makes, the more you pay. So if your child's parent lowballs their income amount, then you will overpay in child support.
All right, so the reason why I wanted to bring that up because he did a great video. If you guys haven't seen that lead attorney video, it was awesome. How do I change it back to us being okay? There it is. It was an awesome video. Probably one of the best videos I've seen by him. Because it was so informative and it got to the point.
Can you send that to me? I've never seen that one.
Okay, I'll send it to you. But he talked about he had different areas, some things, and basically he was just promoting, making sure you don't get a divorce or go through child support without an attorney, because there's so many things an attorney can do for you to help you in your case, make sure you're not overpaying. If you do, these are the consequences, and he goes through all of those in the video. But one of the things, there was 2 points that he pointed out. This is the first point. One of the things he stated was they take in consideration her income. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I do know in these YouTube streets, men are notorious for saying, we don't care about her education. We don't care about what she brings to the table. We don't care about the income. And I understand because you like the way she looks. Those things are of value. But really, should you be caring? Because what he's saying is that if you don't care, you may, just like last week, we talked about spousal support, you may end up both on spousal support and child support paying because she makes so much, the pay is different. So what do you guys think?
I do care about how much she makes. I do care about what her degree's in, because if she's going to educate my youngins, she's got to take education serious. It's got to be a priority for her. So yes, I do care. And you got to bring some type of benefits to the table. If you don't bring no benefits, I don't want your ass. You ain't nothing but a accommodating hoe to me, and I'll leave him at the restaurant.
A young lady is fine. We just say young lady.
Shantae, there's a lot of them beautiful young ladies out here, but there's some lot of scandalous ass heifers.
Anybody else want to?
Mr. Lego, I'm just messing with you, dog. It's all good, baby. It's all love here.
No, I personally don't care, because you're gonna be working for me if you get with me. So I don't give a shit what you do. But your level of education, stuff like that, or who you are, your parents, like where you come from, how you was raised, your level of childhood trauma, that I care about. But how much you make, I don't give a damn, because you're gonna be with me. Because at the end of the day, if you like this corporate whatever and you work all these damn hours, either you're gonna stop doing that, or either I ain't gonna be with you, because I you bring all that masculine shit in my house. So it's about your level of expertise versus how much money you make. I don't give a shit about how much money you make. What level of expertise do you have, like Hank said, to add to my life? Are you, because I have a business. So yeah, your ass can come in here and run my business due to your level of expertise. You feel me? Or you can manage somebody running my business so I don't have to manage it.
Well, question, are you actually paying her? Like, is she receiving a check? And the reason I say that is because it still falls within the same situation that she's talking about. If she doesn't have any documented, thing on paper that says I'm working, they will look at her as a person who is unemployed. So even though you're like, oh, she's working for me, but she don't have no W-2s, none of that kind of stuff.
She get W-2. Yeah,
okay, that's what I'm saying. So they'll still look at that as her not having an income, and it'd be a significant difference between what you make and what she's making.
And would she still be employed if you get a divorce? Would she still keep her job if you are?
Yeah, if we get a divorce. If we get a divorce and you good at what you do, you can still be my employee.
I ain't got no problem. Got them 1099s at the door waiting for the women, huh?
Interesting. Okay. Anybody else want to add to the?
So personally, I don't care what your financial success looks like. I honestly don't care what your level of education looks like, and here's why. As I have grown in where I'm at and how I move, so have the people around me and the people that I come in contact with. So I'm not necessarily concerned with meeting Quanshina, because she's likely not moving in the spaces I move in, because you have to meet me where I'm at. I'm not coming out and I'm not hunting for you. I don't do that. I'm not 25 anymore. So if we meet somewhere, if we meet at a lounge, it's likely that you are on a very similar level that as I am. And then as we communicate, I'm able to sort you out. And I don't waste time. We wouldn't date for a long period of time. Nope. Because as soon as I figure out that you're not going to be the one, I let you know and I let you go. It's really that simple to me.
So the AP, it sounds like you're kind of sort of agreeing with Shantae when it comes to, I guess when it comes to education, financial status. You say it doesn't matter, but it kind of sort of to me sounds like it does, with the group that you just happen to be around at this point in your life. By happenstance, that person, the likelihood of a person who is not of your same equivalent status is not as high. It's not as high, right? The likelihood of you finding somebody who's within your circle, your status, is higher than the likelihood of not.
Yeah.
So for me, I had like a specific attraction level I was trying to meet, and then from there I can move forward, and it was more so about a personality and characteristic traits. Like I needed somebody that was kind, caring, loving, supportive, and that had like to be the opposite of the things I was, because I was kind of like, I wasn't like that, you know what I'm saying? So I then needed somebody that was willing to listen and just willing to, like, whatever, like she didn't have to know how to cook. You can learn that. She have to know how to do a lot of stuff. As long as she was willing to do it, then I could work with that. So the education stuff didn't really matter. Although my wife did go to complete college, but that wasn't a selling point for me as much. I just needed somebody that was willing. So when whatever route I was going, if you willingly follow me down this right, we're gonna get it together. So
you guys don't. So it's interesting. So that doesn't bother you. So it seems like it doesn't bother you when you're looking. It only bothers you if it doesn't work out, and you have to go to court for it. Is that what I'm hearing?
well, I ain't plan on going to court. So
I ain't going to go to court yet.
Right. Which is because I know why. Because the next video is gonna talk about your particular. But when we talk about it, I don't want you to talk about you. I want to talk about it in general because I already know. When I pull the next video up, it kind of is speaking on your situation. But when we speak, I want to make sure we talk about, the masses, not just our situation, if at all possible.
Talk about me?
You'll see. You're going to see the next video. Yeah, you're ready for it?
Number 4, spend more time with your children. You want to pay less in child support? Spend more time with your children. People who spend little time with their children often overpay in child support. There are 2 ways in which spending more time with your children decreases your support obligation. First, if you do not spend much time with your children, the mother can petition to raise your child support amount. This is because the mother has to spend more time with your child than contemplated by the legislature that created the child support guidelines. Consequently, the mother can request from the judge that you pay more to compensate her for the time that you are shirking your parental responsibilities. So if you spend little.
So that's kind of like your situation. And so what the lead was pretty much saying is if you're spending the good time with your child, that's the least that, if you have an attorney, because not in general, if you have an attorney, they take that in consideration and then you don't have to pay as much in child support if you're taken to court. But I think that, like Mr. Let Go says, if you are spending time with your child, I would hope that that's what's happening with the 60%. And that's why they're not on child support. So what do you guys feel about? How do you guys feel about that?
It sounds fair. I mean, because the thing about kids is they take a lot of energy from you. So if say you wanted to go work all these extra jobs, if you with these kids all day, it's going to take away from the money you might potentially be able to make. So that by spending that time decreasing the amount you have to pay, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
I also think too, if you have a woman who is truly not trying to get child support just for the sake of, getting, other stuff outside of actually using it for a child, I mean, in general, I think most women prefer that the father is spending more time with the kid over money. Not to say that they wouldn't want any money, but I think if they had to choose between less money and more time that you're going to have with your kid, that would be the route that they would choose. Because like Marcus is saying, children, it takes a lot to raise children. And I think men get upset about the money because of how high they value money. So it's like, I'll pay the money. But for women, we're like, oh, paying the money is the easy part because you just write a check. Your responsibility is done if you're not involved. But if you're involved, most women would prefer that.
See, one of the reasons why I didn't pay child support is because we agreed that the children, my daughters would be with her, but it didn't make sense for them to be with her. But she wanted them to be with her, so I'm like, okay, But so if it would have gotten to all that other stuff, she would have been paying me child support because the children would have been with me, and it wouldn't have been no unfit parent stuff or none of that stuff. No, the children would have just been with me. That's it. So we agreed that the children was going to be with her. So there ain't no reason for child support because in that case, children live with me. So that's my whole thing. So and
that's what to let go. You fall in that percentage that's what like the studies show is that like in these spaces you hear a lot of times men fuss about I wanted my kid, like it was this battle between a mom taking a kid and the dad wanted the kid, but based on the research, it was showing you reflect majority of the situation that kids end up with the mom, because they both agree that the kid stays with the parent. I think it's over 51% that they come to an agreement that the kid stay with the mom.
Yeah, so because of that, there's no reason for all this government white people stuff, because we just know how to agree. So if I'm going to agree on that, we're going to keep going with the level of agreements that we, negotiation, and we good,
Anybody else wanted to add to that?
So this kind of piggybacks on the conversation from a couple weeks ago. So first, I'm gonna say to lead attorney, salute, bro. Like you're telling the truth. Don't navigate the court system without a lawyer. Period. Don't do it. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody to try to do it by themselves. That's number one. When it comes to time and money, for me, time is money. And I personally have never missed a football game. I've never missed a cheerleading competition, a softball game. Never missed a thing. Why? Because I put my schedule around those things. And I think most dads, I think, if they had the ability to do it, that's the way they would navigate it. I don't think most dads want to abandon kids, regardless of the split or separation with the mom. I don't think that they want that. But the problem becomes when the woman wants to be spiteful, be vengeful, be mad that he is not in her life also, be mad that maybe another woman likes her man. I mean, all of those things come into play. And I think that's where a lot of the problem comes in, which goes back to the man, because he can't vet worth a damn. Men, we have to vet the women also. That will ease in the event that nobody ever plans for a split, but that will ease in the event of a split, because you can make it amicable, because you know the woman and you know how to talk to, you know how to caress and get it to where it works in your benefit. And that I just think that most men don't do that. A lot of men don't want to pay for a lawyer to deal with the courts, and then they end up getting stuck with this gigantic payment that they don't really want to have. And then they're like, hey, since I'm paying 1/3 of my paycheck, like that should take care of everything for the kid, because she's been an asshole every time I try to come see my kid. So I'll take my every other weekend and keep it moving. And that's a damn shame. It's sad. It's really sad. And I'm gonna say something. So I actually have a friend who had to deal with this, and we would literally drive around while he cried about it. Like, for a man to not see his kids that he wants.
Why would you do that against yourself?
Like it's real tough on men, and I don't think enough women really see that side of it. Nor will we ever really show you that side, so I don't think you can. But it's tough. But get a lawyer, guys.
The AP. I'm sorry. To your point, a lot of my decisions as far as how I move forward with my life came from observing those type of situations. I had two friends that could not see their kids, and one of them was broken apart to the part he got a depression. The other one, he tried to pretend like it didn't matter, and he started lashing out in other ways. But I knew that was the root cause because I knew him that well. So I like, in my mind, my sanity is tied to making sure I got my kids, because I've watched people lose their sanity behind stuff like that. Like I try and learn from people's tribulations so I can move forward and either avoid them or preemptively have a plan in regards to how I'm going to resolve it or deal with it. And yeah, every other weekend is not acceptable. I no, hell no, under no I can't go.
No, we agree. And
I can't go.
And again, I know you're about to have yourself. What is this, your first or your second?
Third.
And I know we never plan for these things, but we have to be ready for them, bro. I highly recommend for all men to have a lawyer on retainer.
We talked about it if one of us died, how I won't, because I don't know if I told you, but I planned on dying early just because of my size and heart conditions and stuff that run in the family. So I explained to her exactly how I want things to go, who I want to come in and assist, the house paid off, where the insurance stuff is, everything that needed to be done in the event that I did pass. And we're not going to get divorced, but if we did, the children would be with me. These are all things we already, you know what I'm saying, discussed. I don't got no problem having no uncomfortable conversations. Shit, it got to be talked about, and it's better to be prepared than to get scared at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? So
agreed completely.
Indy has something.
Can I say something?
Okay,
go ahead, Indy.
And then you can go next, Hank.
So I was gonna give up a female perspective of like being married. I know on one of the other shows I had kind of talked about my first like marriage, which was more like military based. Like he went to Afghanistan, so it made sense for us to get married. So that way, like, you know, kind of like what you said about like if he died, the military doesn't recognize girlfriends. But like my second marriage, he was a lot older than me, and it was more like a legitimate, like actual, like, you know, based marriage, like based off of like, okay, this is a mutual feeling, blah blah blah, whatever. So when we got our divorce and stuff like that, he made $200,000 a year. I worked, but there was no like need for me to necessarily work. I worked because I wanted to, right? But my primary focus was children. So like part of our stipulation of us getting married, blah blah, is you have children, whatever. Well, the state that we lived in, Illinois, Indiana, whatever, they go by the same kind of laws in that tri-state area. The man, when you're married, has 50-50 right to custody. There is no mother, like Texas, like if you get a divorce, the children are more than likely going with the mom. And so I assumed, okay, well, if I leave, I don't leave with anything. I don't leave with spousal support. I don't leave with like none of that stuff. Then the kids will come with me, kind of like what Mr. Let Go, like if I cooperate, whatever. Well, when I made the decision to move to Texas, he filed for, like, with his attorney, it's a motion that you have to file in those kind of states, alerting the other parent that you are planning to vacate the state, and you have to do it within a certain time period, or the judge can literally order you to move back to the state with the kids and all of that. And so because of that, it ended up to where I enrolled myself in a domestic violence program here because that's why I fled. But I had to return the children to the state because in that state, the children are free game, whether or not domestic violence is on the table.
Wow.
So it can go in a very, like, that's why it can go in either or depending on what the state is. Like that state, like if this had happened in Texas, I would have had my kids. There he wouldn't have, you know what I mean? But because of the way that it works out there, it's about who files first. Who files first, who's more financially stable on paper. So like, of course, the judge is like, well, you just left Texas. Like, you know, he's established here. He's been at his job for 6 years, $200,000 a year. And you want to take them from their home state to Texas with you.
And what state was that again? I'm sorry.
Indiana and Illinois.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm in Illinois.
If you and your spouse were to dissolve y'all's marriage, you have equal, like you are entitled to, it's automatic 50-50. Unless she up and leaves the state, like if she were to try to up and leave the state and go back to her home state or something like that, you could file a petition and they can make her come back.
I'm gonna be honest, I think that should be the default. like when it comes to a divorce and children, I think the default should always be 50-50, because that's what is in the best interest of the child, unless there's some other issues, if there's some mental health issues going on or something like that, or drug abuse or something like that. But I think the default should always be, if we're saying what's in the best interest of the child, stats show that having two parents are what's in the best interest of the child. But if you divorce, that's unfortunate, but the default should still be both parents equally, being responsible for that child.
Well, to me, dudes put too much responsibility and faith into women, especially if they're not married to them. There's no way I will put my faith, my future. I just had this conversation with my son, talking about going to college and not putting faith in a woman unless she's my wife. There's no way. And if she's my fiance, she has a little bit, not much, but she gets a little. But there's no way I will put all my rely on her for my future. I would never do that. I would never accept a condom from a female. There's no damn way, because I don't know her agenda. I don't know how she moves. She may be looking to trap me or to get me hemmed up. You should, as a man, you should never do nothing like that. And as far as child support, no, guys, don't rely on a woman to sit there and say, I'm not going to put you on child support. That's a goddamn lie. You sit there and believe that, you's a fool. Because this is what's going to happen. I've seen guys all the time. Me, I'm in the mode, put yourself on child support. I'm going to go and get this paperwork started. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Because guess what? In the state of Kentucky, if I'm not on support, and for some reason, we going good for 5 first years with me and my son, or me and my daughter, we good. But for some reason, we break up and we move on. Guess what she's going to get entitled to?
5 years worth of
5 years of child support. All 5 years she's going to get back. And what are you going to do? You already starting in the rich. So now you already your license is in jeopardy. If you got a CDL like I do, it's in jeopardy. Your passport's in jeopardy. Shantae, I promise you, it is. Now I don't know about Georgia. Georgia ain't shit. We ain't worried about Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's different.
The Commonwealth state. That's how it is here. And it's like that in Virginia too. Another Commonwealth state.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably some other states like that.
Texas.
I just wouldn't. But okay, Texas, that's another state. But you're putting your faith into a woman to do the right thing. And we know most of the time that's not how it's going to happen. Let you move on and you find another beautiful woman. She's not going to let you see your kids. She'll use that as a weapon. No, I don't want that. I don't want that whole around my kids. I don't know her.
I've seen it.
Do stuff like that. And so now you relying on her? You depending on her? No, I will not.
Well, I think that it's like it's a situational basis. It's not just I do agree. Like I'm as a child's mother, I am one of those people who I need to see who about to be around my kid, not because I like you at all, but because you hear so many horror stories, and if my kid loves you, then I love you. It's a matter of fact, I would prefer that my child's father be married, and it be a person that I like, because I actually feel more comfortable with a woman being in the house.
But how selfish is that though, Shantae? That you gotta like this woman.
When I mean it's like, when I say like, no. When I say like, not like because we buddies. When I say like, I mean she's good for my child. Meaning, I know she's a good because you're acting like all women are good. So we know women.
Oh, I know you're
not all women are great for your child. So when I say I like
agree.
this woman, I'm talking about this woman really loves my child. My child with her own. She's gonna do for my child like she would do for her own child, and that's what I mean by liking. I'm not talking about we cool, blah 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 blah. I'm talking about.
You hear what you're saying though, Shantae. You said my child, and it's not your child.
Sir, you're okay, so I know it's our child. Okay, it's just a mid. Please don't look. I mean, be so deep into that, please. I know it's
No,
our
no, Shanta,
child.
those words matter though, Shanta, because that's the problem with a lot of y'all ladies. Y'all say my kids, like you the only one made them kids. Now, if you got them falsely inseminated into your vagina, I understand, but it's y'all kids. I had to tell my ex about that. Stop saying it's your son, my son, my son. No, that's our son. We came together and made him out of love. The Lord blessed us, so that's our kids.
So in our, when I say our, when I was talking in regards to the female, but if I'm talking in regards to the man, then I would say our kid. But when I'm talking to her, that's my, I'm talking whatever. But when it comes to that, I would like for me to be able to trust this lady with the child in the house, because we all know, we as women, we know that women sometimes are conniving. There are women who will be in a relationship, they'll play like they like your child, and at the end of the day, they don't. It's men right now. I'm gonna tell you now. It's some daddies. Some of y'all daddies left you because the woman that he ended up marrying didn't want him to be around you. That's the reality of the situation. Whatever that woman feels is gonna happen when she gets you. That's where it's gonna go. Period. That woman can persuade you to be in your child's life or out of your child's life. That's what I've seen over and over again. So I just want to make sure that the woman that he has in his life loves my child no different than I love my child.
So you don't trust your ex to be a responsible decision maker?
It's vetting. It's about the vetting. No different from I would want if there are things that men know to look for that I don't. I know to look for things from women that men don't. I don't think that it's anything against him. It's just women know women, men know men. So I would ask him to do the same thing. If he's getting a red flag from a guy in my house, please tell me that. Because it may be something that you see that I don't see. And at the end of the day, we have to make sure our kid is safe and in a loving home. Because we've heard so many horror stories. I've heard it. I'm in the school system. We hear it all the time, the horror stories about these parents, the step parent, and you'll be amazed at what people go home to. And sometimes the parent doesn't even know. He may not even know. And kids keep that stuff to themselves. I don't know why they do. They just do. When kids are molested, they keep it to themselves. When kids go through abuse, they keep it to themselves. You have to get it out of them.
It's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
That's most of the time. It's embarrassing.
Or they're scared.
They feel like they did something wrong.
Mm-hmm. And or they're scared because depending on the situation, the abuser may say, if you say something, then I'm gonna hurt somebody else or you're gonna get hurt. So sometimes it's out of fear as well.
Depending on the age too, you're groomed. So sometimes children think that that's right. Like they think that that's normalized, especially if like you're witnessing that amongst the adults in your household, like they're very sexual in front of you. You think that, oh, this person is loving me the way that they love my mom or my dad. That's why I always tell parents to be careful about what you do in front of your kids with the person that you're with. Are we sitting up there climbing?
As long as you have you got to have the conversation with your kids. That's got to happen. Because let me tell you what you should show your kids that you love your wife.
Yeah,
I intentionally make sure when I was married that I would kiss her in front of them to show love and affection to a woman.
But that's different.
Pregnant.
But that's different than straddling your man in front of, and then not the dad. Like I've seen this. I've had to correct homegirls on this kind of stuff. That is your boyfriend, and you don't need to be straddling him from the front in front of your little girl. Because she's 5 years old and she's thinking that that's normal.
I don't know who's doing that gross shit, but okay,
people
I understand.
Do that though. I'm telling you, the reason why I say this is because people don't know boundaries, sexual boundaries of what's okay and what's not to expose their children to.
I smack on the ass. So is that going too far?
You said what now?
That's
smack on the ass.
I mean, just don't do it about little kids.
That's what I'm saying. Because little kids will go to school, little boys go to school, and will smack. My brother got in trouble for doing it.
I'm gonna explain to them that you can't do that because I'm gonna keep slapping. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But you gotta have that conversation. I'm gonna keep. You gotta have that conversation, like because a lot of y'all wait till the last minute, wait till they get to a certain set, then start having sex talk about sex. No, I talked about sex with my son in the 6th grade. He knew about sex and how he got her in the 6th grade.
Well,
I'm
I
talking
talk
about put a
about
rubber on when he
good
was in the
touch and
7th grade
bad
going
touch.
into the 8th.
You have to do that kind of stuff earlier than the sixth
Yeah.
grade, like the good touch, bad touch. From my kids were little, like babies. We didn't play around with not knowing your body parts. Like they needed to know the name of what those body parts were. They, we talked about whatever's covered up in a bathing suit or areas that nobody else should be touching. You have to start that early on so they can recognize when something moves against what you've trained them, that they will increase the likelihood that they will say something.
Mistaken. My
Mistaken.
kid's not
I
allowed
wouldn't,
to
I
go.
wouldn't use those covered up areas. If anybody touches you and makes you feel uncomfortable, that's a problem. I don't care where they touch you at. If they touch you on the top of your head and that's uncomfortable to you, that's a problem. Let your daddy know.
My kid's not allowed. My kid's not allowed to go get babysitted or taken no place that I don't know about yet until all of them can talk. So right now, you got to come to the house. I got cameras everywhere. I can see every minute of the day if somebody come over to watch, which rarely happens. But I'm not playing. I hear too many horror stories. And the childhood development is where most of us get our personalities and our trauma from. So this like the most precious time to be on top of all of this stuff.
And it's so crazy. And this is just the mom that I am. I find myself, I don't even like to, that time, especially when my daughter, it's young, and it's the same thing. I don't like to date people when my kids are, like that age. I'm just like, okay, I'm a mom. I chose to be a mom. I'd rather just focus on my kid because I just don't be liking people around my kid like that. Even if I date a guy and I start to get to know him, it is going to be very rare unless we are about to walk down the aisle that he is even going to meet my child. She will never know you existed unless it is something serious. Like we are on that page and it is something serious. Because I just feel like children should not be exposed to all of that. They should not. And I make sure he knows that as well. We're on the same page. That I don't think that's just me though.
And I think too, and I'm not saying that women are guilty of just having randoms, depending on who you are, just having randoms around their children, which increases the likelihood of the things that we're talking about. But I think as a good mother, a mother who cares, I think that's partly why they have a difficult time when Shan was saying, I need to like the woman. I want to meet the woman because there's certain things that I'm going to be able to vet and feel that I think you as a man may not even look for. And I think that's very important. And as women, I do think we question the father's choice, and that meant like when you're not together, because you don't know what's going on in that household. And so there is a level of concern and protection as a mom. Like we're very protective of our children. And so to have somebody in a household that you don't know is always going to lead to, some kind of question. I don't know if I can trust your judgment, because a lot of time men will have a woman in the household because they have children. Like strictly for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I ain't gonna say can't take care of a kid on my own, but want that woman in the household. And that's scary. And I know I've had men say, oh, well, yeah, I'll have a woman in here because I know my child needs a mom. So they'll have random women. Some of them may not necessarily be what they're dating, but will have random women around their kid because they want a motherly figure or a mother person to help them take care of the kid.
Or even leave your kid with them. Like I ever call and my child is with a chick that you don't even know. This woman is not somebody you about to marry. Then that is going to be a problem for me. You're not around. So who's protecting her from this random chick that you done brought up in the house? That would be an issue for me.
But legally, we
can never do that.
I was just about to say that. Go ahead.
Literally cannot, like, because Lord Jesus, my ex-husband has a baby with another lady, and she a chicken head to me, and that's no disrespect, but like she's a chicken head. She is, like, you know what I mean? She just is. But he's of the same mindset. I need to have a woman around because I'm hyper masculine. I gotta go to work. I got money to make. These kids, they need some kind of feminine touch in this house. And so for him, and legally, there is not a damn thing that I can do about it unless she's harming my children, literally. Like, unless she's putting them in danger, endangering them, touching them, I could think she's a chicken head all day long.
Y'all
I
are
realize most of the time it's the women who bring random dudes around the kids more than men.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know. I'm sure there are. That's not how I roll, but I'm sure there are. Like I've seen women, you know. I mean, I've not seen them because none of my friends are going to be. Most of my friends are married, actually. But yeah, I can only imagine. But to me, as a mom, I hear like I just saw y'all. I promise y'all got to Google this. There was a man probably like the last week. He had raised a kid, and since she was 11, she was 16. She called her mom up, and she's like, "Hey, something's going on with so and so, the husband, because they were married at this time. He had been with this girl since she was 11. She felt uncomfortable. She told him to leave her room, and he left the room. She called her sister, who was not with her, and said, "Hey, can you come pick me up? I feel very uncomfortable." And so, and I don't know why I watch stuff like this because it be getting in my head. But the sister was on her way and she called the police. The police were on their way as well, and they heard 2 gunshots outside the house. Police went into the house, and I'm gonna put the link so y'all can see this story. The police walked in the house. The girl's pants were down, and he had shot the girl, and he was pulling his pants up. A kid that he had in his life, his mom, her mom married this man. This man has been in her life for 5 years. And because the case is still going on, it's still under investigation, they're assuming that he may have sexually assaulted her and he killed her.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm smoking the mother. I'm smoking dude. I'm smoking anybody that was in that. Everybody got to go.
Yes, and I'm thinking
because
you don't never know these people. I'm like, people change on you, you know, and you never know what people are going through. And I'm like, and I will feel to bring somebody in my house and something like that happen. Oh my gosh, I don't even like to chance it. I be seeing craziness on YouTube, just people talking. I'm like, oh
But
God, that just identifies me not want to date.
There was a dad. It was trending on TikTok. The mom had went live, and this is his own biological child. He had
yes, the light skin. She was mixed.
The camera was in the little girl's, the 16-year-old daughter's shower, and the mom was in there deep cleaning, and she pulled it out, tried to clean the hair, and there was a camera inside of the thing, and that's his child. That's their child together. Like, they had that child together. Like, stuff like that is not uncommon, but it's so important to tell your children not only like don't be touched, but how to look for the signs of being groomed. Because a lot of the time it's adults that you trust. Like, you look up to them. It's not just random people. It's the people that are like literally like there. Like, you trust, like you look up to them. Like, it's not like it's some bad guy or bad. You don't see them that way as a child. You see them like, this is my hero, or this is my favorite uncle, or my favorite aunt. So you want to make them like, you know, you look up to them.
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, we're just going to play a game. Oh, we're just going to do this. Oh, don't tell. Like, don't tell. I don't want to get, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I love you. Like,
I know we're getting off the subject, but I just want to share one more story. You know, there was a kid during COVID was on remote, and then the 18-year-old didn't realize the camera was on, and in front of the class, he molested the kid, and the teacher called the cops because he did it on the camera, not realizing the kid was in class. Y'all don't remember that? He was like 18. And the kid was like in 2nd grade. Yes.
I think that was here in Chicago too. And I think they got on him, if I'm not mistaken.
You got to watch your kids. Oh my God, you got to watch your kids.
So as I digress, saw an article that was interesting going back to child support that I wanted to share. It says the law allows employers to garnish up to 50% of a parent's disposable income, disposable earning for the past due child support. And this increases to 60% if the parent is not supporting a spouse or another child or children who aren't covered under the child support order in question. And that's as of February 6, 2022.
Y'all better marry her. It's cheaper to keep her with them kids.
What state is that? Not a state. That's the national. That's like a national thing.
You know, and I was looking for that because the laws do vary depending on state, and this does not say a specific state, but it does say up to 50%. So I mean, obviously there's some variation with that, but it does say up to 50% for past due child support.
Now, I was going to add, because I know it changes different, with child support changes from state to state, but it was something that Hank said that watching the lead attorney, I dropped the link in the back chat for you guys too, if you wanted to watch that whole thing, that one of the things that men or women go wrong is by putting themselves on child support first.
Well, lead attorney is a Georgia attorney, so he made a
Well,
distinction.
that's why I said, yeah, it depends on, I don't know what the laws are in each state, but this may help somebody out, is that putting yourself on child support first, you're automatically getting the courts involved. So what he suggested is you start that, you could put yourself on child support but not necessarily go through the courts. Anytime you buy things for your children or pay the mom, directly, where you have where you can prove that you were given monthly payments that were for child support, you have an ongoing record. So if she ever goes to court, you have that record of saying, I was already paying child support.
That's
Where
not.
men,
That's
I,
not.
I don't know what
They
state.
don't count that.
Yeah,
They
that's.
don't count that.
You have
Those
to
are gifts.
hold on. No, you have to specify.
That it is child support.
To say that it's
Okay,
not.
again, I'm speaking from Kentucky.
Mhm.
I did that when my daughter was born. I'm $5,000 in arrearage already off bat, right? Because she was born. Only thing I was getting money orders, sending them home for my daughter. I'm giving my scholarship check. I'm taking that, going to getting a money order, mailing it, hey, for child, for my daughter. I had all of that on receipt. The judge sit there told me those are gifts, unless you have a court order signed paper. Now you don't have to go to child support. You could have an agreement, but a judge still has to sign it, and y'all both have to sign it and be okay with the agreement in the state of Kentucky. I don't know about no other state. I don't give a damn about no other state. I'm worried about my home state. I know the family laws in my state because I had to educate myself because I was a victim.
So I think what the lead attorney was just saying was it's just important, like he said, he did his own research, but just to get an attorney, because there are ways that attorneys they know the law and they can help you, they can even save you money in the end, because you may be overpaying or you may be doing it wrong and you might have to end up double paying or something like that. So he was just emphasizing the fact that, make sure that you invest in an attorney, because at the end of the day, it'll save you money in the end.
In the state of Georgia, I know Mistaken was talking about that. In the state of Georgia, that is accepted. Like Indy was saying, you do have to indicate that it is for the child, but they do deduct, even if you're in arrears, if the woman puts you on child support and you've got years that have accumulated, if you produce receipts, whether it's for daycare, paid directly to the daycare, or whatever it is, as long as you can produce receipts, that is deducted from your whatever amount that they indicate that you're the non-custodial parent is supposed to be.
But let me specify on in Georgia, because if she never files for child support, you cannot go back. It has to go from the date she filed. I don't know about any other state, but if she never filed, she can't go back and get it prior to that unless it's like a medical bill. Anything. So let's just say if I decide to put my child's father on child support and she's 10, I can't go back to age 1 and ask for all that. It starts at 10 and then we move forward. The only thing I will be asked for is like the medical part, not anything else.
So one thing I want to touch on real quick, and this is kind of over what I've been hearing about the last 20 minutes. Grown men and women, y'all got to vet these folks. You have to vet these people. Women, if you do not have a man, like a dad in your life or an uncle in your life, find a man that you trust to help vet these men. Fellas, Be intentional. Be intentional. Don't waste time. We like the stories y'all were telling just a minute ago were horror stories. I'm like, what are we talking about? And when you said, Shan, when you said that uh, you hope you like the woman or you prefer to like the woman, you had a kid with the dude. Do you not trust the guy? Like, well, like. So I mean,
what's that saying about you?
No. I trust him because I think he's a great father. He would not intentionally put her in harm's way. I don't trust women. So I don't think he would intentionally put her in harm's way. But I know how women can manipulate. I know how things can happen. And that's what I don't trust. It has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with me knowing women. And
it has everything to do with him and his discernment.
Let me tell you this, Mr. A. Let me tell you this, the AP. I know great people who have been great all of their lives, but they're horrible with kids. And we don't know they're horrible with kids until they have a kid. Okay? So, yes, we can vet and we can be as prepared as people have squeaky clean all up until a point until they do something stupid. You feel me? So I'm going to always try to foresee the stupid because I don't trust nobody. I don't. Nobody. So with that being said, I'm going to always look at you because I don't know what you're capable of doing. You probably don't even know what you're capable of doing.
Yeah, but Chantel, you say that, but then we also think there's a reason why you got this. You feeling this type of way? Are you jealous? Are you mad because I done moved on? But Chantel, you got women who are like that. Again, she could be a good woman, but you don't like her just because she's getting better. He's doing way more than what he did for you. Now all of a sudden he done move into a bigger home. Now all of a sudden he's making more money. He's providing more. He's doing the same thing that you was wanting him to do. Now he's doing it for his new woman.
Some women are petty like
I get it.
I wasn't trying to suggest anything like that. What I'm saying is it goes back to the choice that you made, or that people make with the people that they choose to have kids with. All of these are choices. These are like, we consciously make these choices. Unless it's a great case, it's a choice.
Well, let me ask you a question. So the AP, do you think that a person is this? Do you think that people just don't change? You don't think that things happen in life and people may, I mean, it's called, the TV show is called Snap for a reason. You feel me? So there's some things, there are red flags. I always think that, especially if you have, there are red flags that you can look out for. But I also think that it's not as easy as you think it is. I think we want to make sure we want to believe that everybody is good and the majority of people are, but I just don't.
No, so yes, I believe people can change, whether bad or good. They can change in either direction. Yes, I do believe that. However, I believe we still must have discernment, and a good parent, father or mother, in my opinion, is not going to bring someone around your kid, which is their kid, that they don't feel confident in. And if they are, that goes back to the choice of the person you decided to sleep with at the very beginning to have a kid with. It really does. And
so we just talked about, well, let me just say this. We just talked about people and their choice, like the market out here, okay? We talk about how men prioritize looks. And there's a list of things that they prioritize, okay? And not everybody's mature enough to get past the looks and go for substance. Some people just see the looks and like, oh, she decent, all those things. Again, do I think my child's father would intentionally put her in harm's way? Absolutely not. But from what I'm hearing, especially in these spaces, I don't think that y'all choose. Y'all talk about women being picky and why are women so picky? You shouldn't be so picky, which is assume that you're probably not picky. If you believe she's too picky, then maybe you're not picky enough. And so if I hear this and I'm learning more and more about men, it's making me even more cautious because I'm like, nothing you're saying to me, not you, is making sense. Because I would assume that you are a little bit more picky when it comes to choosing your mate. It is more than just the way she looks. It's more than her fixing you a sandwich. It's more than her submitting to you. It's got to be more in depth than that.
My argument goes way further. What I say is, as soon as you see a red flag, let them go. Don't waste your time.
Not realistic.
Because there's going to be one red flag, then there's going to be another red flag, and then there's going to be another red flag, and you found yourself 6 months in where you have just wasted the last 6 months of your life saying, "Oh, maybe I can look over that." I don't believe that. I believe you should let them go.
That sounds good though.
To build on AP point, I completely agree with him about the vetting part. Because remember, these are all worst case scenarios we're talking about. The ideal case is to get with somebody and be with them and raise your family together and enjoy life together. It does not have to be a horror story. It does not have to be worrying about is the man or the woman going to abuse or affect my child. It can be just bliss. Like y'all can have fun together. The kids, the whole family stays together as a unit. So that vetting is very, very important. To the AP point, I think men are more intentional. That's why it's not as many people that are married, because the men are saying the women don't fit the criteria for what we want in marriage. Now,
but they're creating babies in the process, which then leaves a situation where now you have to try to vet another man before you have around a kid, or another woman before you have around a kid. If you're intentional, then it seems that you will be intentional in all areas.
So I was about to explain that before you jump. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. So what I was gonna say is the reason why I think the women might not be as intentional is because y'all typically control access to sex. So if y'all were as intentional about it, it would be less sex and less marriages. But it's only less marriages. So y'all are not stopping from having sex with men. You get what I'm saying? And
I don't agree with that theory. I think that what's happening is women are competing for men.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they believe that their sex is going to get that man. Okay. So the only reason they're putting out, because it doesn't make any sense. Hookup culture makes no sense to me from a female standpoint. I don't understand what you get out of it. But what I've come up with is there are a few men that women like. Okay. And they feel like they got that magical vagina. And they know that they feel like that vagina is going to get them ahead of the game. Because you just heard Mr. Let Go sit here and say, well, she hang around a little bit longer. But they're banking on that. They're banking on, if I keep giving it to him, and I keep giving it to him, and in a year's past, he's going to grow feelings for me. And I'm going to be in the race, and it's going to put me ahead of the other. This is what they're thinking. I know it may not be right.
No. That's sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, so they're thinking that it's giving them a competitive edge. They're going in with intent. Their intent is to be with this guy. Absolutely. I mean, you got some free roads like, oh, I'm free with the wall. I'm gonna give my body to, but that's not the majority. Majority of the women who give themselves to a man feels like she can be with this man. She may not mention it, but she in her head's like, I can be with this guy. And she feels like that sex is going to give her, a upper, leg over the other women that he's got in the running. And if she does it to him right, he's going to be pee-whipped and maybe she'll be the one. That's what I personally think, because nothing else makes sense.
Okay, so to Mr. Let Go, not to come at the brother at all, but Hink was drilling in on something he was saying earlier in the conversation when he was saying she can sleep her way and then she won't leave and force him into a relationship. That is extremely unintentional when it comes to picking the person you with. And then to build off of that, he decided he didn't want to be married anymore, and then he just wasn't no longer married. I think that route of going about it may produce those type of results because there was no intention in his movement. Because like I'm gonna have to die before I get out my marriage, the way I look at it. And I'll be, you know what I'm saying?
But the problem is women aren't, that's the conversation we're having because we're sitting here with men and women and we're having conversation. But these conversations aren't going on when you're going on a date. They're just not. They're not going on outside of these YouTube spaces. If we didn't have YouTube, we'd probably still be like, oh, I wonder what's going, we'd be having these discussions. We're learning this now.
I got my wife before I got on the internet.
We are having these discussions. It's just that, to be honest with you, like most of the guys my age, when I go at them like that, I call it hardballing. I hardball within the first 3 dates. I hardball. I ask all of the questions that I want to ask. I have a whole entire list about finances, about sex, about children, about marriage, about all, and they either do one of two things. They're either like, holy shit, she's got her head on so right, and I am so turned on right now, or they're like running for the hills. Literally, they're like, nah, look, this is what, nah, I didn't come here for all that. We came here to get a meal, get a nut, and now I'm trying to go. And I'm like, well, ain't gonna be
How
nothing.
long before you ask that question?
I'd
Yeah.
argue that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, how long before you start asking all the questions?
So I mean, obviously, like, to be honest with you, I don't even go out with the guy until we're a week out from, like, if we meet each other at an event, at a mixer, I want a week of consistent communication and all of that before I'll even allow you to, like, us to go on a date. Because of the fact that, like, guys always bring the pressure for the first, you know what I mean? Because they want to conquer you. So, like, if they're not really interested in you for real, they fall off really quickly, because guys just aren't going to put their eggs into a basket where they don't see themselves like sitting there. Like, if they're just there for a nut, they're not going to invest all that time and energy and effort. So, like, once you actually get down face to face to sit down and stuff like that, we're having these conversations pretty, like, and I allow them to ask me the hard questions too. Like, I had someone ask about my credit score on a second date. And I was
Well,
like,
you're having that conversation. I don't think that's the vast majority.
She can't be the only one, because I'm not. So to me, those conversations actually just kind of happen. You shouldn't even really, like, it shouldn't really be a question. Like, if we're moving in our purpose intentionally, that's going to happen in regular ass conversation. And if it doesn't, that means, I'm actually not moving with intent, and I'm just going, I want that quick nut. And if it's good, hey, we could do it again. We could run it back. But most of the, and this is what I preach for all men, move intentionally. We need to stop just being willy-nilly, as they say, right? We just need to stop making these rash decisions because we want a nut. If you just want a nut, use your hand, do something else. But when it comes to finding a female and moving in that purpose, like, you need to be intentional about it, and quit busting these women down, because we're breaking women. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We're breaking women. We're creating a marriageless one-parent households just by shooting up the club. That's up to us. Now, I recognize that women have control the access to sex. I 150% agree with it. But if we're moving with intent, don't we also? Can we say no? So you mean to tell me a man can't say no? That's insane to me. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. We need to say no more also. Women, you need to quit spreading your legs. Like, you got to stop spreading your legs and having these random ass kids. But men also have to stop having nutting up in random ass women.
Well, let me say this, man.
I agree there shouldn't be nothing in
I talked about this. I talked about this Wednesday on my show called The Basement, man. And I talked about asking the hard and have that tough conversation, before you get married. You know what I'm saying? You got to have them tough conversations, asking, what do you want? What is you looking for as far as it being a marriage? Men need to do it. I don't give a damn about the women. My concern is not the women. My concern is the man, because the man sets the tone for everything and all things. So if you're the prize like y'all say you are, and I know you to be, then you need to move like a prize. But you can't move reckless. So you got to ask the tough questions. Simply, and he's talking about, dude asked about a credit score by the second day. He damn right, he should have. Matter of fact, I'm going to interrogate your ass like the FBI, because I want to know everything and all things. Because if I'm going to bless you with my last name, you got to tell me everything. There's no secrets. There's no hidden agendas. There's no this and that. No, we're not doing this. Else I move on and I leave your ass at the restaurant. I don't care. And I move on to the next woman until I find that right one. And once I find that right one, she going to be blessed. She going to get everything and all things from me. But I got to move like I need to move, because I'm not going to invest all my time, energy, and money into a person I don't see myself with. I'm not. And no man should. Ain't no woman out here worth it.
But
Don't
I
just
think
keep
that's the
investing
point.
and tricking off your money from BS, man. It's not worth it. They're not worth it.
Hank, can I ask you a question? If you just said that you wouldn't, all of the things that you just said, you wouldn't invest your time and money in a woman that you don't think is worth it, but you'll give her your body.
What are you talking about?
We not the
You'll
same.
have sex with a woman that you don't think is worth it. Like I guess in my mind,
what are you talking about? Give her your body. I didn't say nothing
no,
about giving
like
her your body.
have sex with them is what I'm saying. You're saying
I didn't say nothing about having sex with them.
no. Listen. I'm talking about men in general, and I've heard you also say things like you just like kind of what's the word, like pumper and dumper, because you're not trying to be serious with them. So that's my point. I agree with you in saying if you the prize, you got to act like the prize, right? But there are men who will choose a woman to marry, but they're not treating themselves as a prize prior to finding that woman. They're just throwing themselves around and having sex with random people. So how can you think you're treating yourself as a prize by being selective in one sense, but then just dicking everybody down in the other sense at the same time?
Because the thing we holding is the relationship. That's what we treated like the prize. Which is the inverse. Y'all should be treating the sex like the prize. Like if you put a man on the corner right now, the best looking man you ever seen, naked, and he say somebody come have sex with me, that man might not get nobody. You could put the most crackheadest looking woman on the corner, and she can make $700-800. I just watched the video where this lady had scabs and all type of shit coming off her body, and she make $800 a day so she could do some blows. Like the thing y'all control. We can't change this. This like you telling the bank, leave your money out. We gonna do the right thing and nobody's gonna steal it. That's unrealistic.
But men are also getting pregnant, these placeholder women. Men are, that's what Mr. Let Go was talking about. They're called placeholder women. They're women that are just filling in the space until that man either hits a financial milestone or whatever his purpose or wherever, and then he has access to the woman that he really wants to be with.
Well then, guess what? That shows the value that you have in it, and you don't have no value. You don't see no value in yourself. That's on the woman. If she's sitting there knowing she's a placeholder, then that's her fault.
They don't know that they're placeholder.
What do you mean? If no, yes they do. Let me tell you why they know. Because if you're not having because guess what? A woman can have the same tough conversation a man can. Are you looking to get married? And if you're not, you need to leave him at the restaurant.
But now, there are men that are not going to be mean to a woman. They like easy, convenience, simple sandwich sex. Listen,
simply, you sit there talking about these women are placeholders.
Can I finish my thought before you start trying to cut me off? Please, thank you. Placeholder women exist and they continue to exist because men like that. It's easy when they don't have to put as much work into that. They don't want the woman, like he said, the woman that he really wants, he's going to be on her ass. He has purpose for her. He has standard for her. He's not there yet himself, so he can't ask for something that he can't produce himself.
You're a hoe.
Let me just
You're not a placeholder woman. You're a hoe.
Listen,
and that's what you are. And he's treating you as that.
No, you can't label a hoe.
That's what you
look.
Y'all call them a nice word, selling it. Oh, they placeholders. That's a nice word of you being a community chick.
So a hoe, no. So a hoe, she has to do something to make her a hoe. She has to be a whore to be a whore. Okay,
what do you think a placeholder woman is doing?
Listen. You
can't. You don't know she's a placeholder,
right? So you can't label people just because you want to label. Because when we can label you all kind of things, you understand? That doesn't make it true. So what I'm saying to you is, but what I was trying to say with Andy before that came up was, the fact of the matter is, majority women are placeholders because guess what? People are not marrying. Majority of women are placeholders. The majority.
You know what I'm
can I speak now?
That's why they don't know that they're placeholders.
Can I speak now?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Y'all keep calling them placeholders if you want to. A man's gonna look at you in the back of the mind. You a hoe.
It is.
Y'all
I'm not gonna.
No, listen. I thought you said you're gonna let me talk, Shantae.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, baby. But Y'all, that's how we look at. That's how we see. That's how you're perceived. You keep calling something nice placeholder. Yeah, that's nice.
With that, men.
Simply, Andy one, calm down. I stand down when y'all did it. Can I get that same respect?
Let's all hit the mute button.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. But y'all keep calling that nice word because it sounds bad when a man calls you a 304. It doesn't sound pleasant. It sounds mean. But guess that's what it is. In the back of mind, that's always you as. You're here for the meantime, between time. As soon as I'm tired and dealing with you, I'm going to move on to the next. So y'all, again, that's the lack of respect some men have for y'all. We don't respect you that enough. We'll leave you string along. We'll leave you.
So let me ask you a question. And this is going to be a little off topic, but is that the same mentality that when people look at us from other races and they automatically categorize you and they don't even know what you are? Are you using that same part of your brain that they use to say that you are a criminal, even just because you're black? Is that the same part of that brain that they're using?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But it still exists, is what he's saying. Like so the difference that I think Simply Indy was trying to make was that there are levels to it, and sometimes you'll be with a woman while you grinding, and you don't technically see her a hoe. She just ain't the one for you, and you wasting her time. What Hink is saying is, if you wasted his time, you wasted. If he wasting your time, is because he still see you as a hoe at the end of the day.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
agree as far as that go. I get the underlying point he's saying though. Is you not gonna get nothing serious out me, so you just sex at the end of the day. So
right. Hold on. What I was going to say is this. There is one, guys, y'all are the one that came up with the placeholder situation anyway. That term.
I never called
the term.
You didn't.
The term. But what I was going to say is I still do think that there is a difference between a hoe and a placeholder. A hoe is jumping around from person to person to person, where I think the placeholder is with that guy with the intent of thinking that she has the relationship. So it's the guy that's really, I guess, like what Hank was saying, making her the hoe, but she doesn't realize she's a hoe to him.
Even though she's
right. In her mind, she's in the relationship. So I think there's a distinct difference between the hoe and the placeholder.
And that was my point in saying that, because even though he can look at you as being a criminal, it does not mean you're a criminal. Mm-hmm. You understand? That's in his mind. He can think whatever he thinks. That doesn't mean it's true. If she's in your life and she's holding you down, she maybe just not be the person for you, but you're calling her a placeholder. That doesn't mean, like Miss Dakin said, she's out here sleeping around. She's just a good woman who thinks it could be a good woman that you have, because there's a lot of men who slept on good women. And they think about it later on, a good woman that you have who's stuck beside you, that you place in a whole category. And all the time, she's not a hoe. She's just a rider that she just loved you and she wanted to be with you. And you just overlooked her for whatever reason. It happens all the freaking time.
Because we don't take her serious.
Right. So does that make her the hoe or you the hoe?
You the idiot. It means you're the special one.
You could call a man a hoe. It will not offend him.
No, I don't mean. I'm talking about the behavior. I'm talking about the behavior itself. The behavior itself, whole behavior is whole behavior, regardless if a man do it or a woman do it. The difference is, as a man, y'all dap that up and it's okay in the sense of society wise. But what I'm talking about is if you're going to be a hoe, like if the woman thinking that she's in a relationship and you're putting her in a placeholder position, or saying she's a hoe and you're the one sleeping around and she's not, you're the hoe, she isn't. She's in it for the relationship.
But let me ask you this mistake. Why wasn't the question asked? If you got this man keep stringing you along, why aren't you asking the question?
Mr.
What are we doing here?
I agree with that, though.
What are we doing here? Guess who's the fool in the situation?
Okay.
The woman.
The woman, but Mr. Let Go explained it.
He literally.
So sometimes, you know how sometimes you assume things are one way without it being said or understood. So I'm spending all of this time with the dude. I'm sleeping over at his house. My stuff is there. I done kind of moved in. You know what I'm saying? So in your mind, you're in a relationship because y'all are moving, like in a female's mind, that you're in a relationship.
And you've claimed him, and he hasn't corrected it. Like
if you remember earlier in this conversation when I was talking about women trying to trick men into a relationship,
this is it.
This is exactly what this is. And I gave the solution early in the conversation. Have sex with them and leave. Don't spend the night. Don't do none of this extra
shit. For a while to have it cuckoo, baby.
Well, look, I don't think so. Look, I operate like this, and I ain't never went dry when I want to.
That's what they all say.
But that's my point. That's how it ends up like that, Hank. When you saying nobody's asking, I that's why I left it, Mr. Let Go, because I know people who've been in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, to be honest, I speak for myself. I was in a situation like that. You know, actually with my husband before he became my husband. Early on in that relationship, he made it clear he didn't want a relationship initially, but then he started giving me the time and attention regularly. So I'm like, oh, you know, we must be in a relationship now. And it wasn't the case. In my mind, we were. But for his, it was like I made it clear to you early on that I wasn't looking for a relationship right now. But guess what? When he was ready for that relationship, like you was saying, he made it clear and intentional. So
do you think that this might be a random thought, but do you think y'all like finessing the relationship is the same as like relationship grape? Because it kind of sounds like people getting forced into a relationship when they didn't want one. And if we tried to force you into sex and you ain't want it, it'd be a real issue.
Well, I think that I think that we just don't communicate. But I think that before you two, we all thought when we were going on dates, you like me, I like you. We both are intentional. But what we're finding is that men are not intentional at all.
No, we're very intentional.
When it comes to a certain person, but it's moments in life when they're just not intentional. So while she may be looking for, to get married, because in her mind, if she sees you with the wedding bells, that's when she'll open her life up to you. For the most part. Now, this new generation, I don't know what they on, you know what I'm saying? But from the back in the day, it was like, oh, I like him. You call your friends. You like, oh, you start spending time, and the whole time this nigga's just trying to get in your pants. You like,
so cute.
You planning? You got your bridesmaids friend. Like, girl, you gonna be a bridesmaid?
Yeah, hook, line, and sinker, baby. We got him.
What color you want?
Yeah.
That's your color scheme.
I want one girl, one boy.
No, but that's why I was talking about being intentional and doing everything intentionally. Like I understand what Hank is saying. I do, because I used to be that dude that would maneuver to keep your ass around so I could get that buzz down. But I wasn't being honest, and I wasn't moving intentionally.
Ladies,
no, I'm like, hey, we gonna be this. Oh, all right, girl, look, let's take our time. Why are you trying to rush this? I'm enjoying our time. Our vibe is good. That's the stuff we say to keep you around as the standby or whatever it is, the term you guys were using. That's what we do.
And I think that
Tap, you was lying to the whole Tap.
Man, what?
They do now. They do now.
Ain't no point in lying. That's what I used to do. It would be
so
around. It would be.
But this
you know what? I'm not gonna have a dry night because I got what's her name.
The Old Faithful, baby. Old Faithful.
Baby, you gonna get numbers on blue balls.
But the thing about it is that girls my age are buying into that still, with that whole like image in their head. Like you said, they're still doing the same thing, but now but they've got friends like me. I'm the bad friend. They always call me the bad friend because I'm like, he doesn't like you. And they're like, no, but he took me to and we went to Ocean Palm and he let me spend the night. He doesn't.
Y'all don't understand. These girls out here getting played. They really don't want to be hoes. They end up being hoes because they fall up on one guy. They're just naive. One guy after the other guy. It's like, no, this is the one. And then he then got it out of the coochie. And then the next one got it. And she just
hey, let me tell y'all the truth. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Y'all respond better to the truth than y'all do the bullshit. Because what I have learned, like, hey, look, shorty, right now I'm not really looking for anything long term. What you doing tonight? Me and you can link up. Let's see what's going on. What's popping?
She can change
that shit right there. Every time.
Yes, what's
Hey,
that?
but you got to go though. You got to go. Get the fuck out of my
Well,
house.
she didn't
But
said
see,
it
I
though.
think most women appreciate, and I know you guys say no, but most women appreciate honesty. They really do. I think what happens is men try to bend it so they can have their cake and eat it too. But if y'all are talk about being so direct, oh, I don't mince words, I'm so direct. If that is the case, then tell that woman, I really just want you, as a placeholder, or I'm not looking for a relationship, but I just want to have sex. Like,
No, we
you
can't
know,
call you a placeholder now.
be direct is what I'm saying, because
You
that
can.
woman, it gives the woman the choice to say, okay, I know what he's about. I'm here for a good time too. So, all right, we can move forward and have a good time. Or it gives her, well, I really am looking for a relationship. This ain't gonna work for me. The problem is y'all want it all. Y'all think y'all deserve it all, so y'all do stuff with intent to have your cake and eat it too, and it's just not right.
Okay, so Miss Taken,
Go ahead.
I
I'm sorry.
no, so I always, if you ever see me in the chat, see me anywhere, I always advocate for honesty. That's the
Mhm.
main thing I be yelling. Tell people the truth because you get them the chance to choose, and then it's on them. The thing about women, I found is if they want you, they gonna lie to themselves. So
That's true
you
too.
can't tell them the truth. And when you start leading them on, that's how you get stalkers, your car keyed up, sugar putting your get all of them crazy things that men be talking about women do. It come from leading them on and pretending to like them when you don't have to do all that, bro. If she like you for real, none of that other shit is necessary. You could just keep it playing with her and tell her what it is, and she gonna mess with the vibe. You a good time, she a good time. It's gonna go that way. All this extra stuff unnecessary, and you're gonna get a crazy person.
Mhm.
Yeah, because guys be like, I don't understand why she shot up some stuff, why she did this and that. Like you were taking her out on dates. You took her to your mama house. I know you take all the girls to your mama house, but she don't know that.
Did you just
Like
see your
Yeah,
eyes
that,
when
that,
you just
that's,
said
that's,
you
that,
was?
does, that doesn't give them the right to be violent. That doesn't right to do criminal acts just because your feelings are hurt.
no, I'm not saying that it
Oh,
excuses.
not
I'm
criminal.
saying
No,
when
we don't do nothing.
people are in a vulnerable place, like you
It
don't
doesn't matter.
know. Hold on,
You
but
still have you still shouldn't be violent towards anybody. I don't care what type of vulnerable place it is.
That's
It
why
doesn't give you the right to be
this is the
violent.
problem. He envy. This is the problem. Women need to understand when they give up that vajayjay, their emotions get attached. I talk to
exactly.
about this all the time. When you give it up, your emotions get involved, and your head just go. All that common sense you had, it just flew away. Stop opening your legs to these guys. Stop. Close them. You got more sense when you close them, because once you give it to them, oh my God, it's over.
Yeah, but celibacy is necessary whenever you're healing, anyways. Like when you get fresh out of a situation like that, you don't need, because women, we fall in love with what we hear and not what we see. So like the next guy's coming in talking a good game, and then like you said, now you popping them legs open because you're chasing that high, that feeling, that dopamine, that rush.
Yeah,
And so it's easy for the guys to, because you're not mentally, you're not mentally strong enough to like say no. I've seen so many of my friends do this. I'm like, girl, just sit down, just for 5 minutes, like just relax.
One of the things I think is the most detrimental to modern relationships is somehow we got it confused and we believe that everybody is the same. And men, we are very different from you all when it comes to this. And you all use your standard and apply it universally to us and then grade us on that same scale. And we're never going to pass that test. And you're never going to get what you want if you operate.
What do you mean? Can you elaborate? Give me an example.
Like I seen people saying, well, why would you have sex with them if you didn't want to take them serious? That's not how we operate. That it's just not. I know y'all would like it to be. We don't feel like our body has been demeaned. It's if I walked around and if I said, would you like me to stick my finger in your mouth, or would you want to have your finger to be the one to stick in people's mouth? It don't hurt me none to stick my finger in nobody's mouth, but you might get all the germs from underneath my nails inside of you. It's the same thing. We don't receive, we enter. We don't carry that stuff with us. We leave it. You know what I'm saying? I can go over 100 people's houses, but I'm not having 100 people come over my house. We are drastically different. And we convolute that. And then they get caught in this space where it's like, oh, Well, if he's
I can do what he do. I'm I
we
hear.
are not the same.
This is where we differ, Marcus, because I believe we need to practice that discipline.
Oh Lord,
There it is. It came back.
The
And
man got stopped.
I believe, like in my 20s, this conversation would have been very, very different. I'll admit to you, in my 20s, this conversation would be quite different. Now that I understand a little bit more that a lot more of it is up to me, I have to hold myself to that standard. And I can't just go shoot up. I can't go shooting up the club, bro. I can't be busting down any random chick. Like that's we have to move that way.
AP,
otherwise we're going to continue to have these conversations. We're going to continue to have these same exact problems and no change. Yes, there are 304s out there, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and
you know your sentiment. Your sentiment. We carried. I had the same sentiment as you. As I get older, my testosterone decreases. My biology changes. The biology for men is not meant to preserve the seed. That's why we produce millions of them per day. Hundreds of millions. 16 men can repopulate the entire earth. We are not the same. You put 16 women in a room, and they could probably have 30 babies max for that year. You can put 16 men in the room with all the women in the world, and you can have a new planet. We are not the same. And trying to operate like we are is going to be our downfall.
I don't even know why women want to be men. Like,
well, I don't think that's the thing that he's saying. I think, yes, y'all do not operate the same, but self-discipline should be the same, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
women should practice self-discipline just as well as men should practice self-discipline. A lack of self-discipline gets you in a whole lot of trouble. So I think that's what he's saying. Yes, we operate different, we move different, but having self-discipline is very important, not just in sex, but in all aspects of your life. And the other thing is, as a man, when you're young and everybody's giving you the go ahead to just sleep with a bunch of women because society says it's okay, and you're never taking the time to learn to practice self-discipline, and then think when you get married, all of a sudden now you're just going to be able to stop.
You can.
It doesn't work like that either.
You can. But
it's the same discipline, though. It's the same exact discipline that you're saying you can. It is the same exact.
So let me ask you a question, Marcus.
One of the things.
What do other people do? Because there are countries where men don't have these issues with, because they're men too. So is it like just that it's something about us that, we can't have self-control? Because there are men who do it all the time.
Those men usually import prostitutes into those countries. They import our women from the West that are sexually liberated, and they be in look, these men find a way to still do what they need to do. The women preserved, and then they marry those women, and then they take the women that were sexually free from over here, they fly them in, they take them on trips, and then they send them back to us after they've done what they need to do and still preserve the sanctity of their women. With AP, the thing that I think we might be saying a different thing, but I think it's the same thing, is because you said earlier, when I was younger, I thought. I don't think that's just you younger thinking. I think that was your testosterone, your biological drive from that age. As we get older, it changes. Hold on 1 second, baby. I love you too. Hold on.
Aww. But point taken to what you were saying, and what he's saying, that does happen. But what I find a lot of times is it's about having, depending on where you are. Like a lot of times, religion shapes sexual experiences, so to speak. So if you're Muslim, for example, there's a high thing. The men aren't supposed to be having sex either. The women aren't. They're supposed to wait until they get married. So I think a lot of times self-discipline comes with religion, because it's not about your self-gratification. It's about honoring the higher power at that point. So I do think that that plays a role in it as well.
The main countries exporting women are those Muslim countries. They honor women. They just honor their women. Like Dubai, they exporting women from.
No, I'm not. No, I agree with you. I'm not saying that happens. It doesn't just happen in those countries. It happens all over the world. But what I'm saying is, in the West, we sex. We teach women and men that sex is not something to be honored. We value just giving it up for free. Whereas when you are of a religious sect, like, being a Muslim, even though they sneak and do it, you know what I'm saying? Not all of them are. I think you have a majority of the women that that's a part of their culture for the men and women. So you have less of that.
Marcus, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
What is the problem with asking men to be more disciplined with our seed? Now, I'm not talking, like, I think the women have a whole range of issues that we can dive into. But my question to you, and maybe even Hink as well, both of you guys can maybe provide some insight to me as well as the ladies and the people in the chat. What is the issue with asking men to be more protective of their seed?
What do you think the result of these 30% of men that haven't had sex in a week is going to be? Men need skill sets in order to deal with women. Like, you don't just if you come into a situation and you unprepared and you pretty much are unexperienced when it comes to dealing with women, you're gonna get probably ran over. You might not ever learn what you need to do sexually. There's gonna be a lot of things that you have to learn through trial and error as men that give you your confidence in dealing with women. Women don't have to have that same confidence in dealing with men. We'll teach them, but we need to know something to teach. We need to have experience with the other sex in order to explain those things.
Well, let me just tell you, even with the experience y'all got, sometimes y'all still don't be knowing what y'all doing. So
you need more experience.
That, but they're not teaching their wife. If their wife, I'm telling you right now, though, they're not teaching their wife. They honor their wife and they value their wife, but they're going to the girl that sucks dick. I'm telling you right now, because I just went to an event yesterday where there was a married guy, and his wife is a great lady. She's very, like, she's the epitome of what you think a wife would be. And he cheats on his wife with low value, sexually explicit, loose women. It happens. And especially guys who have no discipline, and then you tell them they have to be monogamous to this woman, and they've had all this access before. They have experienced all this different vagina. They don't care. They want those intangibles, but they still want that other vagina too. That's
but
why
I think that's why it's
share.
I think
right.
So that was my point earlier when I first spoke about marriage.
But I think that's why it's okay. Go ahead. I think that's why it's up to us to also, I know Tap is telling them to have self-discipline, but that's for us too. It should, if they want a chick, they should just have to go to a hoe, pay a hoe to do it. It should not be free vagina from regular chicks out here just giving it away. So we have to be accountable on that part. We shouldn't be just letting men have their way with us, and they're not even for what? Free of charge for a Happy Meal or a steak. Like, that's crazy to me. So it's on us as well. I know he's getting on the guys, but it's also the women as well. We got to do better.
No, I agree. I've talked about that dating now is like prostitution. It's very transactional. You buy me a bag, you fly me out, I'm gonna have sex with you. You do this, you do that.
But this is what Tap's saying. He's talking about protecting your seed. So he's talking about getting these women pregnant. There's nothing wrong with you having sex as long as you protect yourself. As long as you put a sock on the pickle. That's the most important thing. Don't be going out here getting these tackheads pregnant.
But they're not using condoms. Guys are not. It's not normalized. It's not normalized in porn culture, which is where most men are learning their sex from. So they're not seeing these porn stars wear condoms, and so they're normal. It's normalized.
If you learn
Okay,
if you learn about sex from porn, then you already got a problem already.
But then let's just be honest. Guys who are in the 30% of what Marcus is talking about, they're getting their nut out still, and they're not doing it with women. They're watching porn. They are. So that's what's normalized in our culture is raw sex. They're not telling you before the sex on the porn, hey, this is a condom.
Well, some of them do use condoms.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when is a woman gonna take responsibility? And say, hey,
No.
man, put a rub on.
I admitted to
Put a
using
condom on.
condoms earlier. I was an advocate. I explained the proper
So
procedure.
if you're gonna sit there and let a man have sex with you, and you don't have the word thought, say, hey, you need to put a condom on because I'm not trying to get pregnant.
But guys, like there was, what's that guy's name? Is it Joe Budden who just admitted like he slipped a condom off while he was fucking a girl? Like guys,
He wouldn't be joking a lot too, though.
No, but
Regardless if it happens or not, that's a one-off though.
Okay,
That's a one-off. You think that's a common thing?
Men do that.
It is.
Do you think it's a common thing where it's a problem?
Okay,
I don't think so.
you know, these
Maybe
It's a
not to
one-off.
you, Heat, but they out there.
guys
Okay,
continue.
but look,
But
if
guys
you
are-
dealing with a dude, if you dealing with a dude like that, then you need to let that dude go. He shouldn't be around anymore.
I hear you,
Because
King, but we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic and not live in a fantasy world of what we can do and what because people are humans.
Then
And
why don't you take a next step and use birth control too then?
okay, first of all, don't talk to me like you're attacking me. I don't appreciate that.
I think he meant you.
Man,
Like,
why you get all in your feelings, man?
The way that it's
I'm
coming
not
out.
attacking you. I'm just sitting there saying, if there's a problem, and you know this man is not wearing a condom, first of all, you should get up. As a woman, you need to get up and say, no, we're not doing this tonight.
But they're
It's
not.
not happening.
They're not.
Calm down. Let me finish. Let me finish so you don't feel like I'm attacking you. If he's not wearing a condom, you're not getting on this play. That's a problem. Now, if he is wearing a condom and you still feel like you're unsure about the situation, how about you put yourself on a birth control? It don't have to just be a pill.
Don't
Get
have
the thing inserted. Get the thing inserted. Do what you need to do to protect yourself. Double up.
But let's
don't have sex with him.
Let's be realistic. Like all this sounds good. All of this stuff sounds good. Just like you're like, leave that hoe at the restaurant. Leave her this and that. They are not really doing that. You say that on this space because you have the space to say that. The reality of it is though, babies are being made. People are not getting married. People are having raw sex. STDs are a real thing and they're going up. This is all real shit and it's statistics.
I don't give a shit about them then.
But let me just say this. This is what's real. And this is what I don't
If
understand.
you gonna go out there and do that dumb shit, fuck your ass. You deserve it. You sound like a goddamn fool. If you're gonna sit there and do some dumb shit like that, you don't wear a condom, you gonna go out there and get ass. You deserve everything you getting. If you're a woman, you deserve it. If you're a stupid ass dude, you deserve it. Take your medicine.
Listen, I get it's just but look,
Say that child support.
Andy, but what he's saying,
That's what you got to do. That's on you.
Because you're saying in reality, that's not what's happening. But we know that what's happening in reality should not be happening. So we're speaking on you're an idiot. In reality, majority of people who are doing it are idiots. Because if you're sitting here letting a dude you just met and you feel and he done took a condom off, you should have paused right like, excuse me, sir. First of all, you should be having sex. Let me just put that out there. But just in case you got fucking, you are, and this nigga took his condom off, oh, that's a red flag. Because you know it ain't even that satisfying. I wish women would stop lying like it's satisfying. Get your butt up. You're not getting nothing out of it. You probably won't get an O. So get up and get up out of there. What are you doing?
Can y'all feel the difference? Can y'all feel the difference?
But
stop faking the fun.
Yes.
But men,
mistaken.
Yes.
Women
okay.
Absolutely.
Can you feel the difference?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They can.
But is it worth? Is it worth having a kid or STD? Is that difference that big enough to deal with? No. No.
I don't be feeling
when you really think about it, yes, is a difference. I couldn't imagine going back to using condoms now at this stage. I could not imagine. But thinking about it, like back then, yeah, you could tell the difference. But when you really think about the risks that you put yourself in by not using it, like it's crazy. is crazy. So
I'm sorry, I read
I
the
don't
chat.
think the risk is big enough. But sheepskin condoms are a lot better than the other ones. It feels closer to, just in case.
I'm sorry, I read the chat. I wasn't laughing at you, mistaken. I read the chat and Ian said skin to guts, and that I was true.
I'm
But-
laughing at you, mistaken, because your face when you said yes, there is a difference.
Marcus, can you do me a favor?
Like
Real quick?
when Shem was saying it just don't be that good, so y'all stop faking. I'm like, you telling me?
Because you're
It also been,
First of all, no. Listen, let's get something straight. She's been with the same man for years. He knows her body. I'm talking about the chick who out here just hopping from one person to another one. Stats behind closed doors do not support that. Research when you talking to your gynecologist, not because they're gonna lie to y'all all day long because they're trying to be picky, does not support that. So that we're gonna sit here in front because this guy's watching. Yes, you are different because your man knows your body. Maybe you're different because you were once married. But these women out here hopping around, they probably trying to hop around trying to find one who does. That's probably hopping around.
Marcus, can you?
But that's just not true at all.
Can you explain that 30% stat you used earlier? I didn't quite get it.
So the research is saying that there's 30% of men who either haven't had sex in the last year or are virgins over the age I think it's from 16 to 30, or 16 to 25. So it's a lot of men who are not sexually active at all. And those men create a large portion of what they call incels. And those incels without having sexual activity or knowing how to deal with women, it creates that like false pedestalizations and outer reaches, and it also puts you in a world where some of the recent mass shootings have been incel.
They said that one guy who from Walmart was an incel.
So it has a negative effect on society.
They hate women. They go to this extreme because they've been societally rejected and they hate women. Like the new take on the Joker was kind of like a play up on that.
Indy, the thing is, as men, y'all don't have to holler at us. We have to figure out how to initiate, maintain, and foster a relationship with y'all to get to the date or to get the phone number, the date, the sex, and then further. You don't just learn that. That requires practice. That's not, it's very few people who come out smooth enough, like, check it out, sweetheart, and we gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very, very few people. And the rest of these guys, especially like the guys that was in the books and all that, they have to date. They got to learn how to please women in order to just get them to entertain them. You know what I'm saying? Like dating coaches, they make a mint on the internet, specifically teaching this skill for men who never interacted with women. You have to learn it.
But I've seen guys like this in my field, like being in network engineering in the STEM field. There's a lot of those guys who were like, they're not naturally sexy or socially, like they don't have any game. And when they come around women like me in the work field, they're weird. They do weird stuff. They do weird shit. And I'm like, dude, stop being weird. But I tell them, go talk to, like, if you're gonna go get coffee, go talk to that girl over there. Because she keeps they don't understand social cues though. They don't understand, like, oh, like women, we're unspoken. We're going to make eye contact with you. We want you to come over here and talk to us. We're giving you, picking cues or whatever it's called? Choosing signals. They don't understand. It's almost like they just socially, like, they just tune it out. And I've seen them do it. And then when they finally do have a conversation with the woman, they're trying to talk to you like they talk to, like, their homeboys or being weird. And I'm like, stop doing that. Like, but like you said, they don't know.
So that brings up my next question. Is that why the Pookies, I'm putting quotes, Pookies and the Ray Rays are the ones that are having all the kids? Is that I'm just trying to understand.
Let me tell you
Shout out to my Pookies. I'm a high-end international Pookie.
I'm a converted now. So I get it.
Let me tell you so first of all, everybody ain't having kids by Pookie and Ray Ray. The people who live in their neighborhoods having kids, and they just having an alarming rate, okay? But let's talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. So I was talking the other day about the power of influence. Sometimes Pookie and Ray Ray have influence. They have that protective, like he's the guy on the street. He the most respected guy on the street. You know what I'm saying? I got the most respected guy. It's almost like power, like in the boardroom, but in your hood. You understand? Everybody's afraid of my man, and that's what makes him sexy. He has influence. He's like the CEO of the neighborhood, so to speak. And so that power to those women think that's sexy. And then, of course, Pookies and Ray Ray sometimes are, physically fit, a little easy on the ass, So, and when you talk about sexual attraction, they look like they can throw you. And that's just being honest for those women who like those. Because I've seen a few, and I'm like, oh, look, in imagination, but never will. But your imagination goes like, I sent you a video mistake. You saw the video, and I was like, nah, this is why you're running out of Pookies and Ray Rays. And it was I would think he was a Pookie, but he was a fine Pookie. It was like red flags written all over him. But some women, that's sexy. And again, it depends on where you are. That those men are the men of the neighborhood. They may be the dope digger. I mean, the dope. What the hell am I saying? The
We
dope
we know.
dope dealer. So they got influence in the neighborhood, and that's yo dude. That's my boo. He's the man, and y'all gonna be scared of him because he gonna protect me, and he the man in the neighborhood.
I don't know if y'all have noticed. I feel like I'm trying to drive home to a solution because I don't like to leave things. So what it sounds like is we're attracted to the confidence of a certain type of man. We're attracted to the stature, the influence, all of those things, even though that man might be bad for us. Meanwhile, Mr. The software engineer, who would be a great husband, who would adore you, who would provide you the world, you decide that because he's socially awkward, you're not going to give him an opportunity. Am I hearing that right?
No, because those are two different. Those are two
different. His ability to protect, though.
No. But those are two different. First of all, they shouldn't even be going after the same women. They should even have asked, why is he going into Pookie's women? That's the problem. Y'all think all women belong to you, and they're not. There are classes of women. That engineer does not need to go to what Pookie got, because he gonna get Pookie problems, okay? And he ain't ready for Pookie problems. So he needs to deal with the women that's designated for him. Sally Mae, who is at work, and she's got her little glasses on, and she may be the secretary. She understands.
Wait, hold on. Simply Indy works with these people now. So is
I also date them. I also date them.
I
also date them. I don't date Pookies and I don't date Ray Rays because I make a certain amount, and so therefore that means that like Pookies and Ray Rays, I'm gonna probably demasculate them because to me they can't provide. I'm not looking for strong. I'm looking for generational wealth, intelligence. Those are the things I'm personally attracted to.
Right. So there are women for different people. So again, there are women for different people. Indy's not into a Pookie Ray Ray. Those are the women that rat and with the nails and look like they can scratch their vagina when they wipe their ass.
But they're still weird. They still do weird stuff. The guys that, like, I've told them, you are a handsome guy and you got money and you're smart, but you be doing some weird stuff socially. Like, you can't just talk to a woman like I'm a computer. They have no social skills.
So you're shaming these dudes.
But no, I'm not shaming them. I'm literally saying what Marcus was saying, where they have access now to learn these things. They have access.
But you sit there and say, stop doing it. You're weird. It's weird. You're shaming a dude.
Well, not all of you, about one or two people.
With the words she's saying, she's shaming a dude. Stop doing that. You're weird.
But hold on.
If a man sit there and said that to you, it would have been a problem. Stop.
Guys
stop,
tell me I'm weird all the time.
You look ugly wearing all that makeup.
Hold on. You did call people hoes like 30 minutes ago.
Hold on.
If a man sit there calling a man weird, is shaming him. If I call simply Indy,
I'd rather be weird than a hoe, though.
I'll be wrong for that. What's the damn difference?
So what's the difference?
Called weird too. I get called weird also. It's just part of being in our space. Most of us, to be on the STEM field or in left brain, you're weird. You're weird. You enjoy fixing things for a living. You're
You,
weird.
he's weird to you, but for the right person, he might be the right person. But I'm to go back to your question, AP. Then I'm gonna let you go, Marcus, to answer your question. Is no, a woman would prefer an engineer, but unfortunately, in women, it's not that simple. There has to be a connection. There has to be something about her. Women are emotional, and he has to be able to tap into her emotions for her to want to give, you know, and that's what them hood dudes do so well. For whatever reason, they know how to get in your head, to get into your emotions, and then you just
manipulate. That's part of the G of a Pookie and Ray Ray, especially if you're a drug dealer, like you're a hustler. You know how to talk the talk. You know how to do all of those things. So that's why women are attracted to that, because again, we're hearing what they're saying. And right. Well, I would definitely say absolutely.
They leave their emotions.
Say that. Right. So you're saying the things that sound good, so it triggers something. So I'm like, oh, he must be the one, right? Because of all of those other things, like you said, oh, he has the protection piece. Oh, he has the money piece. He's saying the right thing. This might be the one. You know what I'm saying?
What hood dudes, you be like, that rent is down. Them hood dudes like, what you need, baby? And they just like, and they like, I got you. And they just, they,
like, you know what you're talking
like
about.
that. They don't care about spending money. They like spending money on a chick.
Okay, let me ask y'all this question.
Looking for.
Let me ask y'all, all three of y'all.
I'm telling you, with the hood people, like, we're not talking about us.
I understand.
Yeah,
I'm talking about them hood people too.
Let me ask.
That's a mindset of a lot of ladies. I don't even want to call them ladies because that's an insult to real ladies. That's a lot of women who act like that.
But a lot of women are ratchet. There are a lot of ratchet women out there, right?
There's a lot of them women in the STEM field too. I myself am a level 3 engineer, so I get it. I get it. I'm hood as fuck.
No, time out. Let me tell you, I work at a hood.
I'm reformed.
So I learned all the hood trades.
So
I'm reformed.
So let me ask y'all this. Before 25, y'all telling me y'all never dated a hood dude before?
I lived in a hood.
Okay, next.
I
knew you was gonna keep it a beam.
Mistaken was being honest. You had a hood dude.
I had one.
You had a rough man.
It says to the point, like Shan was talking about. It's all about access. If I lived in a hood, I don't have access to the 3-piece suit guy. I only have access to where my environment is. But once I got out of the hood, guess what? I'm not dating hood dudes because now I have access and experience in terms of being around a whole different group of men that are not on that same level. So then you're like, oh, okay. So now this becomes your standard. Pookie and Ray Ray is no longer going to be able to meet my standard because they still doing hood stuff. I'm not doing the hood stuff.
Yeah, but mistaken according to what Simply and Shan saying, they still getting the hood dudes. You got some chicks who come out of the environment, going to college, work in the engineer field, and they still willing to go and get with some of these Pookies and Ray Ray because of their swagger, their confidence, how they could be protected.
So
because
what
they got that muscular chiseled body and all of that good stuff. They still go back to the Pookies and Ray Ray.
I never heard your answer.
Oh, what?
No, I have not dated a hood dude, and that's partially because I feel like they don't like. I'm not like they're not checking for me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They're not. They like a particular type of female, and I'm not in that. I'm almost borderline in the what did you call the women that the guys who you said they need Sarah Beth or something like that. Like
well, I'm not gonna lie. Like my husband, you have a bunch of hood people that's in college though too. Like I met my husband. I wouldn't say my husband is hood. He's been, you know what I'm saying. He's from the same area as everybody. Well, all the New York City is hood, really. So you might as well say. But what I'm trying to say is, it's about knowing how to operate in two different spaces. I can go to the hood and feel very safe with my husband because he understands that. He knows what to look out for. Like he's gonna tell me, no, don't do blah blah blah. He knows those things. But then if I gotta go to a dinner you know what I'm saying, with my supervisors or something like that, he knows how to code switch. You know what I'm saying? Because he read books, he studies things. So I'll be able to go in an environment and he'll be able to hold down a conversation and make me look good, and vice versa. If we going somewhere, he knows that I know what it's like being in the hood, certain things that I'm gonna be looking for, be prepared for, be on guard for. But then he goes to an event, you know, with his job, and I'm representing him in that form and fashion as well. So I think most women want a man that knows how to move in different spaces. Like sometimes I want you to be hood with me. I recognize that. Other times, no, I don't want that. I love when my husband be like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you be like, oh, you know, but that's not, I don't want that to be his demeanor all the time. You have to learn how to balance.
But
And
you
I
know
don't
how to love him, right? Like, you know, like, okay, so like for me, you grew up, like you said, you grew up around that. So like for me, I grew up in the suburbs. So like if a guy that's grew up in the hood, we're going to have like if coming to having a child, he's gonna be like, girl, this is not a Lifetime movie, and you know what I mean? Because there's cultural differences in how we were raised. And he's gonna be like, girl, you're doing too much. I've heard it before. Like they won't even talk to me because they're like, I already know what type of chick you are. And I know we get pulled over in this car, you ain't holding shit down. You might like, yeah, officer, it's over there to the left. And it's unfortunate that they think that way about me, but it's like, you know, that's the way that I grew up. I didn't grow up exposed to, you know.
Well, like I said, I'm from the city. So the girls from the suburbs, they come to the city and they was messing with us. They used to turn
like
them on, like
girls,
all the way. Like they come out there, they say, oh, this way, that where, you know what I mean?
That bad boy, but
they feel safe. They
them.
open. They be super open when
but they don't marry them. They do not marry them. They go over there and they sleep with them and they have sex with them and they do not marry them. I'm telling you, they do not marry them. They go right back to their neighborhoods and they marry Chad. They marry the D1F. Yes, they do.
But they get pregnant by the hood dudes.
Okay.
Why I don't be seeing that these
they get pregnant by the hood dudes, but they gonna marry Chad. The Chad gonna save their ass.
What suburb girl is getting married to a hood dude? Please point that out to me, please.
What did you say?
What suburban woman that grew up in a 2-parent household in the suburbs, middle class, got
Sierra did. Sierra did.
Who was Sierra?
Sierra did not grow up in a middle class 2-parent household.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Atlanta.
Yes, she did.
Okay, go do some research on her because no, she didn't.
Jeezy White.
Beyonce is an example of that. Beyonce, right?
Beyonce, Jeezy White.
Dated hood dudes, but who did she marry?
A hood dude.
Beyonce married a hood dude. Jay-Z was a hood dude.
He's good dude.
Him when he was a hood dude. I promise you.
Doesn't matter. He was just because he was a hood dude when they got
together.
You don't still have it in him.
That was what attracted her to him. I ain't gonna try. I know I'm bigging up New York, but New York men have a whole different swag. A lot of women, especially in the South, they would say this. Like they love to come to the South because Southern women like that New York swag. And that's why a lot of times guys got into beef with it. And Jay-Z was definitely hood. Just because you leave the hood, that hood don't necessarily always leave you.
It don't at all. That's
like
you just alter how you interact with.
You just know how to cover it up better.
Okay, on a realistic, statistic-based things, my friends were going and having sex with the hood dudes, but they're now married to the guys that they went to college with, or the guys that they went to high school with, and they go back to their high school.
They've had they caught us cheating on them all of them times and finally left.
But
I'm gonna keep it a bean. If any one of them girls that
having baby by hood dudes,
I could have been married and been in love with me, but I didn't view them like that. It was just recreation.
Well, okay, so what it seems like is these hood dudes are what women deem as sexually attractive, but the college educated dude, the engineer, as Mr. AP would say, is more marriage minded. Like the guy, it's kind of like his hoe and his wife thing. So the woman thinks of that hood guy as her hoe, her sexually attractive, and the husband is the engineer. So that's what I got.
I'm a husband too now though, so that kind of throw that shit out the window. I waited till I found what I wanted and picked it, but I got to go through do my whatever I wanted. Like, but I also did. I'm in both worlds though, because I did go to school. You know what I'm saying?
Code switch, yeah.
So you was an educated hood dude.
That's kind of
Bro, I
dude.
don't know if you know Chicago. I went to Whitney Young. It's the top mag, like one of the top mag.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where I'm from, out the whole city, all 16th for home and PCP and Coke Block. You feel me? And man, Joe, I was outside hanging.
So you were a reform hood dude. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they make great dads. Like a lot of times, like with my because they're
dudes make great dads mistaken.
No, and
I'm a great dad, bro. I swear I'll be on top.
It's because of what they're able to teach them. Like I don't think you should be all of one or all of the other. Having an all hood dude with nothing else, sometimes the what they pass down to their kids is just not cool. And then having all like, educated, no experience, they don't know how to necessarily teach them what to look for if they happen to be in the situation in the street. So I like that balance. And I know like we left New York so we didn't have to raise our children in that environment. But I see the difference in terms of the way they move and operate, that we look and we're like, it's so dingy, like you don't have common sense.
Naive.
But the truth of the matter is that was why we left. So they didn't have to think like that. They didn't have to worry about those things. But I realized, like with my son, we sent him back to New York for like his senior year in college. That first week of school, he got into it with somebody. And we flipped on him because we like, why did he even get that close to you? Like all of the hood stuff that we knew came out because we're like, that shouldn't even happen. And we're flipping on him. And then we had to kind of fall back and be like, well, how would he even know? He's never had to be in that situation. He wouldn't know. And so that's why I say like being able to have a balance of both is great, because you have a better understanding when you're in different situations.
You're right, though. It is a double-edged sword because that's how my mom was. Like, my mom grew up in New York, and she fought nail and tooth to put us in the suburbs, and my stepdad and all of them. So, like, but whenever, like, my brother, like, it's a sense of entitlement and almost, it's kind of bad. It kind of backfires because you grow up as a kid with no, like, consequences no real consequences. And there's always this safety net. You know what I mean? Or a certain thing that so like your consequences are not, you don't see your consequences as severe as a kid who like, this is all they got. Like they can lose it all. Like going to the military, I think for me personally was the best thing I could have done. Cause I got exposed to so many different people, like kids that were like, if I didn't come here, I was going to be dead or in jail. And I was like, holy shit. Like my parents were great. Like, my community around me was great. And so you're right about having that like balance of code switching. Like you have to be able to get exposed to both or you're going to be an asshole. Like you'll be naive and mean and not know how to be tolerable to other people from different walks of life.
All right, quick question. Did you have any more questions about child support? I know we're just totally off topic.
I think we've talked about child support. We all had the same concerns, but we understood why it was, I think we had a great conversation about child support. I just wanted people to know that child support and spousal support are two different things. So child support should not stop you from getting married. Because guess what? Even if you don't get married and you got a child, you can get on child support. Child support is dependent upon the child. Just like if you get married and you don't have kids, you don't pay child support. Because everybody's like, oh, but I pay child support. I don't want to get married because I pay child support. Boo boo, that ain't got nothing to do with marriage. It's not just with a child. Like that, I didn't understand how they were getting that confused. But yeah, that's all.
No, I was going to disagree with Mr. Let Go earlier until just now, Miss Shan. He used the word incentive in regards to for women and knowing that they have that safety net. And that's the word I was going to use, was safety net, child support being a safety net for in the event that dad doesn't be around. But the way you kind of just said it though makes it sound more like it like it's an incentive. Like I'm gonna go ahead and be as out here as 304 as I want to be. Not you, because it's never anyone here. Uh, I want to be as 304 as I want to be because there aren't any repercussions for me personally.
Well,
Because
there are. I think that the woman has the most to lose at the situation. Do you understand how much time and effort to raise a child right it is? Like for me, I don't even go dating. So it's a selfless act. I do that for my child. So I put myself to the side to make sure my kid is involved. Everything I do is revolve around my child. Activities. It's like always an activity. We're going from one activity to another activity because I want to produce a well-rounded child. So, and then you guys are always saying it. What my value? I lose my value just by having a kid. So I have a lot to lose, and way more than that little funky child support. I don't even want that child support, So to sit here and say a woman doesn't have anything to lose, maybe she doesn't understand that she has something to lose. Like if there, I don't disagree that there are women who take advantage of the system, who keep having kids and the system is bailing them out. I don't, I know that those women do exist, but there are also women. I don't think, when I had kids, I didn't think, I'm gonna put my man on. And I had a child's father who I could get a lot of child support from. Never put him on child support. Never put him on child support.
Well, I don't like the narrative a lot of times is that like what you described in terms of the women, having babies so they can get, child support. I know that happens, but I think a lot of times in these spaces that they become the representative for most women. And that's not the case. And the truth of the matter is too, the stats also support that because not even you only I think it's like 44 or 45% of custodial parents ever receive the full amount of child support, period.
And
So
60% didn't even ask for. Remember how we looked at the stats?
yeah, 51%,
not
right?
even
Yeah.
on child support.
So when we are having these conversations, a lot of times it's based on people's personal experiences and the way that they interpret those experiences, right? And so then that becomes the face and the narrative of child support. But the stats don't necessarily are in alignment. Like when, I know Hank was saying he was paying child support. I don't know how much Mr. Let Go was paying. Then we talk about Kanye and he paying this amount. And a lot of times, like based on the stats, they basically said that the average amount of child support that are being paid is $288, right? So less than $300. Now, of course, they're doing the average. So, we know some people are going to be paying more or less or what have you, a little more or less. But so it said the median annual child support payments receiving any support was, and this is for the year, $3,328. So that adds up actually to anywhere between $277 to $286 monthly.
Now, how much?
So when people are talking about, and they using all the money to buy these Birkin bags, go get their hair done, get their nails done. You're not, just like I said, I can only go based off of these stats. Most women are not doing that.
Yep.
They're not.
But by being a single parent, how many other windows to the government resources open up to you? So it's we talk that child support, but
you
then
have to be in poverty.
No.
In order to get those resources that the government is giving you, you have to be below a certain poverty level to have those that access.
So a person like me would not
even though. If we're talking about average, the average woman is below poverty level with her
Right.
income.
And so and so what I'm saying is your child support doesn't necessarily bring them up out of poverty. The way y'all talking is that y'all are paying them so much money that now they're able to buy Birkin bags with the $288 average. Like that's just not the case.
But when
I
you
don't know
It's not the
who's
case. And most people that
$108 average. I
are
don't know where that comes from.
And you know what? And even the leader attorney states in his message, he said, "You're shooting yourself in the foot by applying for child support yourself." So in the back of his mind, he already knows most people are not even on child support. So why are you filing it?
and
They
those stats was from the Census Bureau. Those stats that I just read was from U.S. Census Bureau on the Statista. So, I'm just saying, like, people, I do think it's a responsibility that when you have a kid, it is each person's responsibility to raise them and provide financial, raise them with time and provide financial resources because kids need both. Now, do I always think that the child support system is fair? With the research that I did and I've learned more about it, absolutely not. I don't think it is. And I definitely think certain laws need to be changed. I definitely think that, like, so men, because I think a lot of times men have an issue with this, and I agree that there should be some kind of way that you can tell where your child support money is going.
Well, it's
You know what I'm
not.
saying? Just like you get food stamps, they put it on that card. The only thing you can get with the card is food stamps. You try to buy paper items or whatever, it don't ring up. You know what I'm saying? So I think if there's a way that it can be monitored where when you get your child support, it goes on a separate child support card. So anytime anything is purchased with that card for your child, you would be able to see it. And I think that would cut down a lot of
the
the
speculation.
exactly.
They're not going to do that because now the child support office don't benefit. They don't make no money if that's the case. If you load all that, say I put an idea out there. If they load it on the credit card, right? You put on the credit card and whatever you use has to be towards their child. Not your two other crumb snatchers you may have by another two dudes or so, but for your
Agreed.
actual son or daughter. That's what it should be going to. And if I've noticed you out here buying girls' clothes and I have a son with you and I don't have a daughter, that's a problem. But unfortunately, they're not going to do something like that because now child support's not making no money. How are they benefiting?
Well, they can make money. They can
Processing.
If you put it straight on the credit card and they're not you trying to cut out the middleman.
That's a processing card. It's a processing fee. You have the option now to get it on a card or they can direct deposit it.
Well, you know, like
they're not gonna make that much money for a processing fee. How much processing? How much they gonna charge for it compared to if I take your money? Because like in the state of Kentucky, you get a check. I mean, they take it out of your check. They hold it for a week, then they disperse it. They collect money off the interest. That's how they make their money in the state of Kentucky. I don't know what other states do. I know in Kentucky, that's how it goes for us.
Can I just point something out? And it's not to you, it's something in the chat. So Maurice, I'll call you out and just respond to what you said. So he responded, said, yeah, bro, she be saying, or I did research. They do that all the time on this show. But never show ish. The truth of the matter is, yes, we do that all the time on this show. That's what part of having a true conversation is about. When we say I feel, y'all talk about, oh, it's about your feelings. But then when we bring facts, then that's not good enough either. So just like I did the research, you have it available too. It's called Google. So he's saying that we don't show ish. I just told you where I got it from. I got it from the U.S. Census Bureau Statista. I make sure I write down. That's part of my background. I do research. So yes. And that's what's going to set us apart and have more healthier conversations because we're just not talking out of our neck. But go ahead. I digress. I just needed to address that because I don't like that.
Go ahead, Marcus.
I think my two biggest issues from what I'm seeing with the child support stuff is paternity fraud and people not being able to get removed from child support orders from what I hear. Like I heard a guy got 5 years in jail and then proved the child wasn't his and still had to go serve more time in jail. the
papers.
default judgments, like if you don't show up to your court date, then they enter a judgment against you, and it's your child, and it's not too much you can do to get that off.
Yeah.
That has to change.
And I
I
would
agree
say,
with that.
guys, I would say to the guys, you know, be proactive. If you're not married to that girl, don't be ashamed to before you sign a birth certificate while you in that hospital. They right there with you. Request a test. You gotta start. You gotta speak up for yourself. Just like I said, request a prenup if you got money and you trying to get married. Request a test. Say, I understand, but we're not married, boo. I love you. I love my baby. Can we get that baby swapped?
Do you think it should be mandatory?
Yeah,
I think you should make it mandatory for you.
No, the reason I said I think maybe it should be mandatory is because sometimes like women can be spiteful and vindictive, and if you request the test, they might try and keep the child away from you, and that might strain the relationship. Like you don't think it's yours, no way. I've seen like paternity court episodes and stuff where they blow up and the dude didn't get tested because of that, and then it turned out.
It's sly ways. Listen, you can go to the grocery store. It's sly ways to get DNA from a baby. You sitting there holding, she sleep, swap that baby real fast. Hey, you know, honey, I'll do it for you. If I'm your sister.
And to be honest, you need to do it before you sign the birth certificate.
In the hospital now, when the nurse,
before you sign the birth certificate, you need to do it. Even if you're not comfortable with the hospital, do it. You can, like she said, you can get it. You can order one yourself and do the swab. All I'm saying is you want to establish true paternity.
Yeah, but is the court going to recognize that though?
Before you sign that birth certificate.
Will the court recognize you doing a home paternity test?
Yeah, because if you never signed the document, you're just a visitor. It's her word against yours. You can say that's not my baby, and before if she tries to tell you go, you can petition the court for paternity. You've already taken a test. You just petitioning the court, like, look, I know that's not my kid. This chick is on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? You already swabbed it. It's the dudes that go in and don't know. Oh yeah, I slept with her. You know what I'm saying? But if you've already done the work and you know that's not your kid, and you walk up in there with confidence, that baby ain't mine.
But they can also request it. Guys don't know this. They do a genetic testing when the baby is first born, where they prick the foot with the blood and they like test it for certain genetic like deformities and stuff. During that time, you can actually have them request to prick your finger as well, and they can do the DNA test right then and there.
It may cost you, but shoot, that's better than being on child support, right?
It doesn't. It's part of the birthing cost. That's why when they go back for child support and stuff like that. I have a friend right now in Wisconsin that her baby daddy is having to pay, and they have a 7-year-old. He's having to pay the birthing cost of their 7-year-old because they just now did the DNA stuff, and like that it all goes back. Like,
but what I'm saying to you is, first of all, I'm sure that has everything to do with per state, right?
No, they can lump it in with the birthing costs. Genetic testing and like DNA testing and stuff like that can be lumped in with the birthing costs.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can go to CVS and get you one of them little tests.
But you can do that with the nurse. Like, you don't have to talk to the baby mom to do that. Like, you can go to one of the nurses and be like, hey, when y'all take the baby back for genetic testing, whatever you're doing.
Oh yeah, talk to the nurse outside.
How is that okay if you're not even entitled to that? You don't even know if that's your child. So how can you make that request as a visitor, as y'all call us, right?
Well, if she is acknowledging that you're the dad, and if she has you in the room and she's saying that you're the dad, you gonna be like, I ain't sure.
He does do. How you think that's gonna go over though?
She won't know. She doesn't have to know.
Well, my thing is that if they make it mandatory, just a general practice across the board, whether you marry or
just out here.
To me, I'm gonna be honest. I think because back in the day they used to do that before you got married. You had to take blood tests and all of that. Like when my parents got married, they said back then you had to do blood tests and all of that before you actually could have your, yeah. So my thing is, why not do that, especially if you are not married? If you're married, the assumption is that's your child, even though that technically sometimes is not true. But if you are not married, I don't understand why that just wouldn't be an automatic process.
Would I be offended? I wouldn't have been offended. Knock yourself out, honey. That wouldn't offend me because I'm confident in who I. Like that wouldn't offend me. I feel like it'll only be offensive if you probably doing something and you probably like, well, shit, is you the damn daddy? I don't see why that would be offensive.
Man, I'm leaning more and more to Mr. Logic's stance on this. And
Mr. Lego?
No, Mr. Logic.
What's
I'm
his,
gonna explain. The stance is take it away. Take away all of the safety nets. Take them away.
What do you mean safety nets?
Force people.
Children are the vulnerable population, though. You take away the safety net. The whole idea behind child support was for the kid. So if there is, if like we just said, that if most women, you have a high percentage of women who are already at the poverty line, and that extra bit of child support helps bring them a little above it. When you say we take away the safety net, you're trying to punish the woman, but in turn, the child is the one that gets.
No. Then that means she will be more conscious about opening her legs up.
But that's here.
That's the point. Like, shouldn't that be the point? Be purposeful.
Like,
shouldn't that be the point?
But taking away Roe versus Wade, I'm letting y'all know right now, women my age are scared to, like, because that option has been taken away from us or limited. Roe versus Wade, them passing that and overturning it and everything like that. The girls my age are not playing no more.
Then move to a state where they are okay with abortion. It's that simple. Because all it did was take away the federal the federal guideline. It put it back in the hands of the state.
No, it's getting so deep to where
it should have never been federal, though. It should have never been federal.
But I'm telling you that it's getting so deep to the point where, like, if you track your period on your phone, they have the legal right to overturn that data to prosecute you in a court of law. Like, it's a whole bunch of crazy. Yes, it's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on right now with our bodily rights being taken from us. So that's
a lot of shit you shouldn't be putting on your phone, but people do.
But I'm saying that's a safety net. What you were just saying about safety nets being removed.
I wanted it to go back to the states. It should have been with the states to begin with.
Yeah, it never should have been federal anyway.
The real thing is declining birth rates. That's what really all of this is about, the birth rate. So people are not having kids, and we operating at a -1, I think, right now. So 2 people need 2 children to replace them to have a consistent growth. You need 3 for positive.
Are we overpopulated?
Well, no, like when it comes to like certain, is Social Security still in? Is social? Do people still pay Social Security?
It's going to collapse.
It is going to collapse because nobody.
It won't be there by the time a lot of us are probably on this panel retire. So you might as well forget that.
You need people currently working to pay into it, and if we're on an inverse pyramid, it's going to collapse. The weight is going to collapse on itself. And to your point, Indy. It's not overpopulated. It's large majority of this earth is not populated. It's heavily densely created areas. I think it's like 6% or something of the earth. It's not like overpopulated like that.
That's interesting.
The issue is about economy, sustaining the economy. It's a money thing for the government.
I could see that. But the girls my age aren't having babies. I'm telling you right now, because they're like,
no, it's a decline in birth rate.
Yeah, like no.
For the younger generation, it's a decline in birth rate.
Well, but the doesn't that?
Well, they have them. They just not keeping them.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what that is.
It doesn't lead to live birth.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're not. Like if they get pregnant by the wrong guy, they going to run their tail over there to that clinic, and they go in the morning after.
Well, it goes back to their choice. It goes back to their choice. Like it's all choice.
They're not so you're not worried about STDs. They worry about getting pregnant.
When we were growing, when we were growing up, HIV was still out there. That was like a big threat.
Yeah,
like people were like, it was a threat.
Because they were.
I mean, you talking about a 18 to maybe even 21-year-old problem. What about the shit you can keep for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
How they could take your life.
Yeah.
Kiss my grits.
Every night. Right before BET Uncut, I'll be about to crack. I'll go grab a condom because that commercial used to come on. I don't know if y'all remember it back in the day. The commercial about AIDS, like right before BET Uncut came on. The 901. They used to always come on. I used to always look at Shorty like, I gotta find me a condom real quick. Yeah.
Them got them brown bags from the clinic.
I wasn't having sex with being a kid.
I'm
hey,
just,
hey, y'all got a condom.
when I say accountability, I really mean it. Like it's each person's responsibility to make the right choice. So if it's not a guy that you can see yourself with long term, don't open your legs. If it's
Even
a
if
chick,
it's like you see
if it's a
yourself
chick-
with long term.
if
Don't
it's a chick, but if it's a chick you don't see yourself being with long term, don't worry about the condom. Just leave your pants zipped up. Now, if she's a 304 and you're paying for services, wrap it up. Like, I mean, those are the alternatives. Like be accountable for you. Be accountable for you. Then you don't have to worry about the abortion. Then you don't have, or the deletion. I'm sorry. Then you don't have to worry about the child support. Like, focus on what you need to do, and everything else will take care of itself. We can't regulate dumb people and dumb decisions. That to me is the bottom line.
All right, so let's do these super chats. We got 3 super chats.
Woo, woo.
Woo!
You're killing us with this money. Woo.
Salute. Harrison Davis with the $9.99. Salute, big dog. Salute to you, sir. Sir Shot 87 with the $2. Big money. Get these super chats up, chat room family. Thank you for starting it. Booyaka, booyaka. I thought you was gonna hit them with the bum, bum, bila, bum, bum. You ain't hit the whole dance. All right. Sir Indy, Sir Shot 87 again. He trying to get it cracking with the $2. So Indy, you like Steve Urkel weird or Dwayne Wade weird?
I like Steve when he was Stefan because Steve was still in there, but he looked like Stefan. So I do like nerdy guys. I do.
So you like the Pookie Steve? Because Stefan was like the Pookie.
No.
Stefan was smooth. He wasn't
a kappa, a sigma, a alpha. You know what they still got that je ne sais quoi.
You left everything but the Q's off.
Exactly.
Q's.
And we know why.
Omegas be as successful though. Leave them Omegas alone.
You know what I am?
Yeah.
What?
A Q.
You an Omega?
Yeah.
Sapphire.
So you just gonna play us like that? I got you, Simply Indy. I
When
see.
they be scrolling is not husband material.
I'm a great husband.
Oh, Omegas are awesome husbands.
No. But some of the stuff that they do when they're strolling, when they in the line pouring their liquor, y'all ain't seen the video, the TikToks, they out there got them girls on their knees pouring liquor in them, all types of stuff. I'm like,
Simply Andy, you watch too much trash. God damn, girl.
It's out there.
You need to stay out of the shade room, baby. You need to stay out of the shade room.
They're doing it in real life. What do you mean? I went to Houston. I went to their homecoming for Texas Southern and stuff like they doing it out there. They doing it for real in real life. That's why it's on Shade Room.
Cold Black $4.99. Have it to where the funds are monitored and only able to make debit transactions. That way women can't hide behind the child safety net. I agree.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Now that's an idea, but how do you regulate that? Because there's definitely a difference in a charge for service, food, and other goods outside of like what is other good? You know what I mean? Like how do you like that would be very difficult to regulate, and then the man is going to truly waste his time. Hey, I'm gonna take you to court so we can pull up all your receipts. Like what are we talking? Like I understand that. I understand what Code Black is saying, but that would be very difficult.
Well, I think
Well,
it will probably
you're
for
not really
men
going to
would
get them
start
right
off.
like that.
I think with men it'll probably start off where they're checking because they have the ability to do that where they don't have it now. But I think once they begin to see like, okay, yeah, oh, so she paid for the soccer. Oh, she went, where they can calculate it. I think it's about making a person feel comfortable. I think a lot of times men think that they're paying the child support and they associate it with giving the woman the money. Whereas I think that would eliminate that part because it's going to the child.
So, but then, like, I understand, but the counter argument to that is like, yo, she used that card to pay for gas. That's because she's taking the baby back and forth to school. Like, who really, like, I would never monitor anything like that. Like, if you come to me and you say, hey, the baby needs shoes, then we can have the conversation like, what you doing with the money I'm giving you?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Well,
we
you
can
don't even have to have that conversation. You can look and see.
Well, I mean, even then though, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's when it would that's the only way it would really come up. But again, I believe all parents should be active participants in the lives of their children. What is an active participant? You know what's going on, what your kid is doing, where they're going, who they are with. You are the one taking them sometimes. You are teaching them the lessons. You're taking them on trips. You are active in their life. So, like with that, the child support piece takes care of itself, but once you say, hey, you got to go to court for this child support, a lot of non-custodial parents disappear. Like, hey, here's the money.
I was watching a video in preparation for this, just watching some YouTube videos or whatever. And there's stuff where people are advocating for men not to spend that much time, with their kid. Like I saw the video, it said to not spend the time. It's easier to just go ahead and pay the money because the more time you spend, you're going to end up spending more money than you would if you had just went ahead and paid the child support. I thought that was so crazy.
I had a conversation with my homie yesterday about this, about not spending time, because they were saying a lot. I've heard other people say this too, that by spending time with my kids, you damaging them because they don't have the same drive and ambition to succeed in life that those people who didn't have parents have. And I was like, I kind of agree with him, but I'm gonna damage him with love anyway. But I kind of understand what he's saying because I use that as motivation my whole life.
What, to not have both parents?
Like so for somebody to, like you saying, they just saying send the money and not spend time with them. Part of that other line of thought is that you're doing the child a favor because by not being there, you give them like a chip on their shoulder to succeed. There's a lot of people who think that.
But the stats don't show that it doesn't support that.
I don't agree with it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and some people are able to take a negative situation and use it as a drive to do positive things, but for vast majority, it doesn't work like that. Which is crazy. Like watching some of these videos, like if you watch these videos enough, it'll make you think that the world, like I have to take a break and watch positive stuff so I can have that balance, because when you're doing research and you're looking into topics like this, it's so much vitriol and just negativity, and is scary to hear, like what you just said. Oh, well, they'll have a chip on their shoulder, or the guy saying, well, you know what, if you're around your child too much, you'll end up spending more money than you would if you paid the child support, so just go ahead and pay the child support. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I honestly can't wrap my head around that rationale. I really can't. And that's coming from a person who didn't meet his father until he was 14. So I mean, like that rationale just doesn't make sense. I didn't know how to properly have a positive relationship with a female. I didn't know I didn't know how to change a tire. I mean, there's like the only thing I knew.
You're not alone.
I knew how to hustle. I could do that. I mean, not shit. I mean, it is what it is.
And who taught you that?
Do what?
And who taught you that? No, I'm being honest.
The streets.
The streets, exactly. That was my point, is that a lot of times when the father is not there, especially for boys, the street is raising them. Yeah. And so then it's this continued cycle of what we're talking about now, creating babies without the father there. You know what I'm saying? And the cycle just keeps going on and on and on. And so I think that's the key is and how do we change that part? Like, I think right now, Marcus, you're breaking your generational curse. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to be pushing the marriage thing. I think that is going to be the only way that we can kind of turn the tide, because right now it's just not looking good for us as a people at all.
Yeah. So the counter argument is when you and I wonder what the statistics bear out. I don't know the statistics, so I'm kind of speaking from an anecdotal point of view. But with that logic, how did that work for the inner cities of Memphis, Chicago, Baltimore, Houston, LA, Oakland, DC? Like how did that work out for the young boys that didn't get to wake up the next day? Like, well, that's the other side of that coin. Without a father to guide you properly, what do you result to? You result to the streets. And what does the streets teach you? It teaches you to get it by any means necessary.
So that was part of my argument. I was saying that if you are very concerned about them being the best of the best, then yeah, they might need that type of a grudge, because it takes a real specific type of personality to hit the top 1% of everything, from, you know what I'm saying, especially being black, right? It's you have to have a real driving force. It's not really going to happen by accident. But if you just want good people to do right in life, then yeah, it's not even close. You just need the parents there.
Because I just look at, and I've talked to Shane about this before, like growing up where I did, I would say I was in the hood, but I wasn't of the hood. And the difference is because it was, I realized now as an adult that I had privilege because I had both of my parents. A lot of people that was where I lived, they didn't. There were a few, but I had my parents and they were, holy rollers. So I was brought up in a church on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So once I left the house, I was different when the way I had to behave in the house. And so I was able to get that balance. And because I was exposed to other things, it was easier for me to transition out of the hood with a different mindset, because I wasn't allowed to be what was out. I couldn't bring outside inside the house. And so I think that same situation, what you were saying, what happens in the inner city, is about exposing children, exposing them to other opportunities. In the hood, there's not a lot of exposure. You're only exposed to the negative, only exposed to the things within that environment.
But are most kids like raised in the hood these days though? Like, I know when we were growing up that was pretty popular, but are most kids are raised in the suburbs, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, because I know like the whole like redlining, all of that, it's intentional. It's the fact that so many of us can say that we were raised in the hood, that's by design.
But that was a different day. Like now there's a lot more opportunity, so.
So where the largest populations of Black people at? I think
it's in the cities.
Concentrated in the cities. So I would say, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it is because my little sister, she's 17 and like we have same dad, different moms. And she lives on the other side of and I've taken her in to show her, like this is, because like even like what you were saying, exposure like to sex and stuff like that. Like she's dating, she's 17. She's like her boyfriend 21. I'm
What
like,
the
that's a
shit?
grown man. That's a grown man. And they've been dating since she was like 15. So he was dating her. He was
That's a
still in it.
problem.
That's what happens in the hood though. That's what she was saying. Like when your body develops, them dudes on the block are not looking at you like, little sis anymore. They're looking at you like, oh, I'm finna wax that. Like I'm finna get her.
Did you tell her to stay away from that pedophile?
Hell yes. We've had, and she's broken up with him and we've talked but she's growing up in a different environment. Just like I had to express to her the value of her education. I was like, your education is your ticket out of here.
And wait, like I don't simply, Andy, I don't mean to get in your business, but is Pop around?
My dad is incarcerated. Both of our fathers. When I grew up with a stepdad, and my mom is also, not trying to be funny, but my mom is Jewish. Like my mom is of a community that, like, something that they should have shunned her for, they took her in. You know what I mean? So like we grew up seeing, and then my dad, like my stepdad, took on the role. So and he graduated from Baylor. My mom graduated from Baylor, but my little sister, her mom is, she's a hood, she's a hood chick from South Dallas, and my dad is a hood dude. Like he's incarcerated.
I'm glad your sister has at least a model that she can look up to and have those conversations with. But it's very different. It's very different when a dad is able to teach his daughter and defend and fight for his daughter. Because I'm gonna tell you, ain't no way. No. Let's just say I'd be in a cell next to your pop. If my daughter even attempted to come home and say some shit like that to me.
But they don't know any, like I said, she doesn't know any better. She's been running around the streets since she was 13 years old. Like that's how it is. And they groom you because, like you said, they start spending the money, buying you shit. My little sister got bags. I'm like, how the hell you got a damn Louis Vuitton? And them hood dudes, they pulling up, they spending that, the money that they're earning, they're grooming you. And now, it's going to get you in some situations. So her mom actually reached out to me and was like, hey, my little sister is quiet. And she's like what you said, like she's from the hood, but she's not of the hood. She's very book smart. She's very green. So a lot of the stuff that she's getting,
that's off target. That's
it comes from the guys. It comes from the guys. It comes from the guys that she's dating. Because her mama don't play that. Like her mom does not play that. Like her mom will probably send her to live with me or her other older sister before she ever let her get like pregnant or whatever. So my sister knows that part, but like, that's it's real, the exposure, and it's a different world down there.
All right, you guys, it is not 1:09. Yeah, we're supposed to get off at 11 o'clock. Look at that.
Oh, y'all are on East Coast time. I was like,
caught us slipping. Yeah, you did. Thank you guys for being. Anybody want to have your last?
We had one more chat.
Yeah, let me hit it
up. Cold Black 4.99. Thank you. The government not slow. They know women aren't marriageable. Hence, they give alimony and disguise it as child support. Somebody got to pay for Keisha.
Jesus.
I think that when it comes to women being, I think men and women have a lot of work to do. Both of them have a lot to work.
A whole lot.
And we'll be talking about that next week. Yes, we will. So you need to join us 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Friday. And Marky Mark will be a new dad to a new child.
Congrats, bro.
Speaking into existence, he's gonna have a boy.
I'll probably go have another girl.
My dad had 4 tries before he got the boy.
You gotta say you have a boy, you gotta speak it.
Look, my dad tried 4 times. He ended up with 4 kids before he got his boy. My aunt, 6. She was trying for a girl though. She still ended up with all 6 boys.
Damn.
I think I'm gonna go 6. I think is the cutoff. I'm gonna stop at 6. We don't get no-
Damn. Shit.
Wait, what'd she say though? Your cutoff might be 6. Hers.
This is the sneaky stuff men be doing. He don't even care. I'm joking.
It's already been discussed. We
I
good.
was discussed.
Okay, so she said 6 is okay.
She say 10 if we could get them out, but
Oh,
Damn.
Say y'all.
6 kids?
No, she
Yeah.
said 10 if they
Nothing wrong with that, Marcus. Nothing wrong with it, brother.
You want to have
Yes.
babies?
I like to have 2,000 kids. My only problem is I want to raise them. Like, but I can't raise 2,000 kids. I
Bullshit.
want to
man.
be Genghis
Yeah,
Khan
yeah,
around
I
this
ain't
thing.
want-
I ain't gonna lie.
I wouldn't want all them damn crumb snatchers.
Nick Cannon?
Damn.
Look, you know how many things had to go right for you to exist, and then to just die without pushing it. Like, it's 16 million different people that could have came out that sperm, but you got there.
You right,
Then
I'm here.
I
I'm
tell
here.
my son that too. He's special. I
you got
tell him
50
that. Like,
generations
you're
of that
special.
specific incident happening. You hit the lottery on top of the lottery, on top of the lottery, on top of the lottery to just quit and be like, no, you know what? Oh, I can't buy no new shoes and an
I was
apartment.
gonna say something real crazy.
No, I'll say it because it's
Them
true.
kids gonna get some hand-me-downs.
Shit, all
We
these
did.
girls,
They don't know nothing about that, Hank.
They don't do that shit no more.
We sure did.
Yeah,
Damn.
man, we
My
did
bad.
too.
Okay, you guys, we are gonna wrap this thing up like I hope you do from now on because you need to close your.
Shit, I'm letting it fly, Chante. I'm letting it fly. Ain't nothing come through this pipeline no more. I made a visit with my urologist. I'm all good.
Oh, that's right.
I'm noticing more and more Black men are getting vasectomies.
Good.
Yeah, they are.
Don't be silly, wrap your willy. That's what I be telling my brothers.
That's pretty clever.
Don't be silly, wrap your willy.
All right, you guys. I want you guys to have a wonderful night. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. Same people, Miss Parker, Catherine, everybody who shows up for us every
Hey,
single
Miss Parker.
See, Keith Rocka, Sean Gates. Oh, you was actually good today, Sean.
Sean, my
Look
boy.
how I do it.
Yeah, he toned it down a little bit today. He did.
Sean Gates, that's
Sean.
Everybody who's in the chat, we do appreciate you. We hope to see you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys, panel, thank you guys so much for being here. Until next time, see y'all later.